Have my babies. Have my babies. Come on.
Game Awards got everybody acting crazy.
Yeah, it's a full
Enrique
mood.
saying
Oh my God, something must be
Yo,
going
Salty's like, man, I'm not gonna come back to this fucking podcast again.
Nah, dude. Gotta take him on a date first.
Right, you know.
Salty, you saying
you got any money, Enrique? I mean,
yeah, seriously, man.
I got these cheeseburgers.
yes, it's gonna be a negative, bro.
I got these cheeseburgers, man. All right, let me stop, man.
All right, old dog.
Oh my God, what'd you say to me? All right, everyone, we are live. Welcome.
Gotta take him on a date.
We are live. For whatever reason, my icon's not popping up because Google, I don't know what's going on with Hangouts, which leads me to, which is going to go into our first topic of this evening. But first and foremost, I do want to get to our panel this evening, make some quick introductions. We have a returning guest. Haven't had him on in quite some time. It's been a minute, man. But we have Saltiest Gaming in the house, man. What is going on, Salty?
What's up? Busy changing diapers, bottles, all kinds of stuff. My kid turned 4 months old. She's learning how to crawl and stuff. But yeah, I'm doing that and playing games. That's about it, and doing the family stuff. So, wife had a birthday, but it's good. It's good to be back, man.
No, man, definitely, man. Hey, I know the feeling of changing diapers, man.
Man.
I've done it 4 times.
It's crazy, man.
I can't say it gets easier.
I was about to say, Enrique, you're not that old where you got to change your diaper, man.
No, I'm not. I'm not that old. No one's changing my diapers. No, I'm not.
It depends.
I'm not wearing
Your own diapers, huh?
I'm not wearing Depends, but I would change Slow-Mo's diapers because that's my commitment to him.
oh my.
What is going on?
What is happening here?
Someone's like, I gotta go, guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah, man. I'm about to exit stage left real fast.
Yeah, I gotta go. But no, Salty, man, that's awesome, man. So I know the feeling, man. Changing diapers and trying to get some gaming time, man, when you can, right?
Oh man. I forgot how time consuming it is, right? Like, but every little second you get, all of a sudden you hear a cry, or you're waking up super early in the morning. But yeah, I'm still trying to get it done, man. I've been playing. I've been playing Remnant from the Ashes. That's a good game. I'm surprised about that game because it's not like the most realistic looking game, but I'm a Souls player, so I'm enjoying that. What else? Lots of COD, man. COD.
Yeah,
I haven't really played COD in a while, right? But like, I have over 30 plus hours in this game, man.
Okay.
Is that 30 plus hours in multiplayer or a combination?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
It can't be the campaign. The campaign, unless you play in the campaign like 7 different times.
You have to play a campaign like 10 times or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great campaign, but it's pretty short.
Now we did actually a tournament, which I'm a really competitive person, so we did the 2v2 mode, which is a new mode in COD. So we're doing this round robin where you schedule your days to play against these people. So we did this tournament, man. It gets turned up a notch. I played against Crazy Greek dude, and it gets going, man. I like being competitive in games and having that feeling, especially with COD. It's awesome, man.
Nice, man. That's awesome, man. I have not. I did download COD for. I got it free on the PC because when I bought my PC, I got a code for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I did actually. No, I played the beta multiplayer that came out a couple weeks before launch, but I haven't gone back to it, man. But like Slow-Mo said, the story is very short, but I'll tell you what, it is visually impressive, man. Like, it's probably one of the most visually impressive games I've played, and I'm also playing on PC. So I mean, I don't, I didn't see it on console, but playing it on PC, and Slow-Mo, like, I don't know if you had ray tracing on.
I did,
but even without the ray tracing, I mean, it looked good. It looked good.
Yeah, I started it with no ray tracing on. I think you were the one that said like it had ray tracing. I was like, it does, and I started playing around with the settings. It was like, yep, let me flip that on, and I mean, you can. It looked good before turning it on, but it just looked even better with it, you know. And it wasn't like ray tracing on everything. It was like ray tracing in just certain areas of the screen. So it wasn't like really putting a hit on your hardware. But I mean, it looked great.
What kind of frames were you guys getting with that on? You know,
my monitor is 1080p 60, so
okay.
It was like I just had everything on ultra and 60 frames per second. And it still looked amazing. Still looked better than what it would, you know, with all the settings at ultra, all those different settings that on a console would be at like medium or low. It still looked really, really good.
Yeah, I did get some frame rate hits though when I turned on or when ray tracing kicked in. Like it definitely dropped the frames. I saw that. Yep. But I mean, even if you didn't turn on ray tracing, I mean, on the PC, it looked really impressive. There were some issues, some optimization issues. Like Sol and I were talking, like if it went to a cutscene, like your CPU usage would jump from like 50% to like 100.
Yeah. Anyway, but you know what was weird though? That sometimes during the cutscenes, I don't know if they patched this out yet or not, but like there would be like this pause.
Yes.
In the middle of the cutscene.
Yes.
And then when it would start back up, the voice acting would be desynced from what the cutscene was. So you would hear you would see their lips moving, and it'll be like a half a second behind what they were saying. And it wasn't like that big a deal. It only happened like in 2 cutscenes. But it was still something that I noticed and it was pretty noticeable when it happened.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. I noticed the same thing too, Slow-Mo. I know there was a patch just went out that I downloaded, but I didn't even read what the patch actually addresses, so I don't know. But yeah, man. So that's awesome, Salty. It's good to hear that people are playing COD again, and that you're enjoying it, man. So, but we do have another guest this evening. Excuse me. He's actually a returning guest. Was with us last week, and he has come back to drop his infinite wisdom on us tonight. He is somebody who likes to poke fun, I think, at people. Sometimes people get a little upset. Sometimes we laugh with him. No other than J-Dub, a.k.a. Kratos. What is going on, J-Dub?
Boy, what's going on? What's going on, everybody?
Good to have you always back,
good.
Man.
It's always good to be back in the house with the fellas. Y'all know what it is.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. We look. You know what, man? I can't wait to talk Google Stadia with you, sir.
Oh man, I can't wait.
I know because you've been Mr. Damage Control with Google
Stadia. Yes, sir.
What I want to know is, did you have to sign some kind of some kind of agreement?
Man, Google cannot under the table.
I cannot confirm nor deny. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so that's all right. So we're gonna get to that because I do want to talk to you about that, Jay. I'm not singling you out, but you were on ILP Sunday, definitely damage controlling. I think, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But
was I right or was I right?
Yeah, but and the rest of the panel, we have Slow-Mo backslap. Slow-Mo, what is going on, man?
Man, I'm chilling, man. Just trying to get over this cold, but I'm doing good, man. I've been playing games. I'm not really all the way enjoying Fallen Order. Like I like it, but I don't really.
Ooh, let's park that. Let's talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. We can discuss that a little bit later. But yeah, I'm doing good, man.
Cool, man. And we have Forte, man, are you all right, man? You sound a little tired, man.
I'm good, man. I just finished Fallen Order like 30 minutes ago, so.
Okay. All right.
I'm great.
Awesome, man. And we have none other than Eric Jackson, who's on his yacht right now in South Florida, sipping on a martini. What's going on, Eric?
No, man, I'm Floridian. I'm not on the yacht right now, man. It's like 65. We don't. That's freezing to us.
He at the dock, man. He on the dock with the yacht right now. He ain't out at sea with it.
Yeah, man. It's wintertime. No, stop. No, I must be picking up whatever cold Slow-Mo's dropping, man, because I got something going on, so I'm fighting. I'm trying not to let it.
That Florida winter is brutal.
Let it catch up with you. Yeah,
right,
man,
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets as low as 62 degrees.
No, it's hilarious, man. When it gets cold,
Gotta
here,
go get
man,
my
people
North
break
Face.
out.
It's going to be 68 today.
Yeah, all the Florida snow bunnies break out their boots, Uggs. Not what do you call them? Is it Uggs? Yeah. Bring out the little
How do you wear
Uggs?
Uggs? How do you wear Uggs when it's like 70 degrees outside? Like I don't understand. That's crazy, man. If it's 62 here, we are wearing shorts.
But you know what? Move here for about a year, because everybody that I know that moves from like up north, they're like, I ain't going back to that madness.
Yeah, now I hear you, man.
It's like it changes your blood. They say like they can't go back.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, but personally, I like the cold, man. Like I like visiting areas that like the cold. I don't know if I can do it for months, but yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
But
man.
I'll take it. I'll take that 65, 70. That's beautiful, man. Like I always say, like if Florida was like 65, 70 year round, the property values would be much more ridiculous because everybody would be moving here.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I hear you. Yeah, all right.
Nobody wants to do that 99.
I don't want to do 99. That humidity we get here in DC, but
I couldn't wait to get the hell out of Florida.
It's a different type of heat, right?
Every time, man, when I was in Tallahassee for 4 years at college, man, it was hot. It rained.
Can't breathe.
Dude,
can't breathe.
Dog, it was hot,
Yeah.
and it rained every day between 3 and 4 o'clock.
Every day.
Yes, sir.
Every day.
To watch to it, man. But no, it's like that arresting like humidity. Like you walk out the house, it's like the humidity just put a gun to your chest, like give me your wallet. Just like
it like sits on your shoulder and just kind of just like a weight that just weighs you down as the day goes on, and then you realize like I haven't even done anything, but I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. It's just this heat. It's just you don't want to do anything in it.
Nothing but sit and chill somewhere, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, man. We have B Money. What's going on, B?
Hey, man, what's going on?
We could go to both.
Not a whole lot, man. Just ready to get into these topics, man, and talk some video games. So, but hey, real quick, guys, I just want to make a quick announcement. Everyone in the live chat, in the spirit of the Game Awards, I've decided to give a free physical copy of Death Stranding, my personal game of the year.
Now, Enrique, I have a question for you.
Yeah,
No,
yes,
I
sir.
believe him, man. I don't think he's trolling. I think he really
No, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. But I have a question.
No, I think he's for real about that being game of the year for himself.
Go ahead.
I ain't going.
I don't know about that one.
No, he ain't trolling us, man.
But there are 6 games nominated for Game of the Year. Why are you only giving Death Stranding? I wonder. I wonder if you should do like a the winner's choice of whatever game that's that's in the Game of the Year category.
Why would you give a game that's not even a game?
Okay, Forte, let me ask something, Forte. Have you played the game? Okay, no. All right, on that note,
I have.
No, he's not. Forte, putting the disc in, putting the disc in and letting it download is not playing the game.
Wait, hold on. Putting it in and putting almost as time as I put in Sea of Thieves and realized that game ain't for me is enough time.
You didn't play the game.
Listen,
I played the game.
No, you didn't play.
So you played Death Stranding 8 hours?
No,
close to.
he didn't.
Close.
No, you know what he did? He made the first delivery. He's like, you know what? I can't. No, he picked up a box. He's like, nope, I'm not picking up boxes.
Dog. Yeah. I felt like I was at work playing that game.
Listen, there's been
it's funny, Forte.
Listen,
I felt like I was at work. I felt like I was talking to my UPS driver, like, how many boxes I got today?
Yo, the shipment's a little light, son. But you know what? Okay, answer your question, Slow-Mo. I look, and I'll tell you what, man. After the Game Awards show, I will give away whatever game wins Game of the Year. I'll give away a copy of that game.
You should give away Gears of War 5
So what you saying is you about to give away Death Stranding twice?
Wow. Okay. See, I don't. Okay. We'll talk about the Game Awards show later. But but so to answer your question, you asked me why am I giving away this game? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe because
it's a great game.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, maybe Jeff Keighley. Maybe Jeff Keighley called me and said, "Hey, Enrique, can you do me a favor? Can you? Because I'm in this game. Can you give away the copy, please?" So
Here's the thing. I don't understand, right? I get the whole FedEx, UPS, the jokes, right? I get that, but it is the de facto game of the year. It is the best game.
The de facto.
The de facto. It is what it is. It's hater proof.
J-Dub,
Hey,
Jay says hater proof.
Hater proof.
Yeah.
Look,
I'll tell you why Enrique's
It's
buying extra
arguably
copies,
the
though.
second best game that Sony released this year.
All right. We'll get to the whole that stuff later. But let's park that. We'll get back to that. But I do want to talk about Star Wars real quick before we get into Google. I heard you say Forte that you've just finished Fallen Order. I have just started playing it. I don't know, put a couple hours into it. I'm playing it on PC. I think Slow-Mo, you just started playing it too.
Yeah. I've been playing for a little bit. I'm probably about halfway through.
Okay. Salty, did you have you played Fallen Order? Hello?
Not out.
No, man, I think he, talked
You there?
about that mess.
Yeah, I'm here.
Right.
Yeah. You cut out.
You cut out big
Okay.
time,
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry about that.
What was the question, sir?
Yeah, I was asking you if you had played Fallen Order.
Oh, hell yeah, I have. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, so my opinion's kind of biased, like Kojima stands, when they're trying to give 10s to the game for Death Stranding. So, like, Star Wars Fallen Order has a really good story to it. I would say it's better story than the movies have been putting out, the last couple movies, So it feels like a traditional Star Wars story, and it's nice to get that the story in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So you get that, hunting of the Jedis, what's going on with the Inquisitors, because a lot of people don't know what those are, even that those are a thing. So
yes,
the fact that there's more going on in this, because the problem with Star Wars, and it's a lot of movies, right? They make the universe so small, right? It's like everybody's bumping into everybody, right? Han Solo's on a different planet, but yet he runs into Leia or some shit, right? The universe is so big and there's so many stories to tell. So that's why it's good to get into these side stories and to see what was going on with some of these survivors of Order 66. And that's what I like about it, because it's starting to go branch off into other areas. So
yeah, no, I agree.
And I would tell people, if you're playing the game, you want to know more about the Inquisitors and stuff, go watch Rebels on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah,
Star Wars Rebels is awesome.
Rebels was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Great show,
right?
Awesome show.
Yeah, and it got better by the final seasons. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. And if you look at it, it's like you see A New Hope, right? You see Luke Skywalker, and you're like, okay, he's the start where they're trying to rebound from getting the Jedi killed off, but that's not necessarily what happened. It's interesting to see that. You see that with Rebels, right? You have Kanan Jarrus, and he has an apprentice, and then now you have this main character, and you see all these Jedis that survived and their stories. That's the cool shit, right? I like that, and they did a very good job with that, in my opinion. And then the combat itself is very fluid. I'm a big Souls player. I played all the Souls games, all the Souls-like games, except for Demon Souls, and I've played and beaten them. And this one feels good in that level, because if you're gonna have a lightsaber, the melee combat better be good, right? Because I played The Force Unleashed. It's not like that, right? It doesn't feel. When you're swinging your sword, you're actually doing something. It's more of like the force powers. But in this, it's legit. Like, hey, I'm swinging my lightsaber. I'm parrying. It's cool. I like it. It's really good.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. Like, it's the gameplay mechanics incorporate things like some of the parrying stuff. I don't want to say it's like Sekiro, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of it.
It's a little bit, yeah.
But it's not like it's not in that depth. But it kind of remind me of it a little bit. But I think it's probably the most, I guess, in terms of like Star Wars swordplay. I think it's the best take that I've played. In a Star Wars game, and you got to give credit to Respawn, right? Like, when's the last time they made a Melee game? It's crazy that they can pull out a Apex Legends type game that was critically acclaimed, and then they can pull out this game in the same year. Like, I think that people need to start giving, put some respect on their name as developer, because they put good content out there, right? Titanfall, this game, Apex Legends. So
I agree. They're a different pedigree, for real. Yeah, they're up there with like the top studios in my eyes.
Too bad they associated with EA.
Yeah, EA snatched
Right.
them up, man. It's a shame.
But you know what the weird thing is that it's almost as if EA is not their publisher, because when it comes in terms to development, because EA forces all their other studios to use Frostbite, but not Respawn. Respawn is still using whatever they want for whatever game they
Didn't
want.
they use Unreal for this game? I don't know.
Yes, they did. They used
they
Unreal,
did,
and so it's just everyone's all hoping that EA kind of looks at this and has an aha moment, like, oh, wait a minute. The best games we put out this gen have been by the studio that we haven't been, micromanaging to hell. Maybe we should do the same thing with BioWare. Like, hey, look, do you want to make Dragon Age 4 in Unreal? Go do you. Like, finally let your teams be creative and breathe and stop trying to force them to do things that don't make development sense.
I think a lot of that has to do with Vince sitting on the board. I think that was one of the major things that they wanted in order for them to be bought out by EA. It's for Vince to be sitting at the head table on that board, so he can still have pretty much autonomy what goes on with that studio. He's pretty much Phil Spencer, it seems, in EA, and he's only over Respawn, and he pretty much just sits on that board just to talk about everything that they're doing, but it's pretty much done by the side of whatever he wants to do with that game. So hopefully they do see that actually works, because every decision that was made for Respawn over the course of the last couple of years has been complete opposites of what EA normally does.
Yeah, and that's a welcome. That's a breath of fresh air. I mean, I think the fact that they don't have to use Slow-Mo's favorite engine, the Frostbite engine, is nice. So, and you know what's interesting? I think IGN tweeted this out. Out of all the EA games that they've given this gen a 9, it's been 4 EA games, and out of the 4, 3 of them were Respawn games. So. Respawn, I think, has kind of I don't know if you guys would agree with this. I guess maybe saved EA this generation. I guess. I mean, not that.
Oh, they have for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Battlefield wasn't bad, but I think Respawn's really kind of been kind of their.
Talk about from the customer perspective, basically.
Yeah, I would say
from the consumer perspective.
Well, yeah, from the customer perspective, but I would say. Financially, only if you would say that like this game may have saved and the reception of this game may have saved their
relationship with Star
potential, their potential to re-up on the Star Wars contract after it's up, because everything else has been sales disappointments, and sales disappointments in EA sense is not sales disappointment for anyone else. Like a game can sell 8 million copies, and EA were like, ugh. That's such a disappointment. That's not what we wanted. It's just like, what? Like, are you ever satisfied? But yeah, I mean that for in their eyes, that's a disappointment. And then I think on Disney's side of things, they really didn't like when Battlefront 2 came out and it had all that negative press about it right before the last movie came out. They were really pissed about that. So like. If they kind of look at that like maybe we might want to go back to the old way where we were just kind of just one-off licensing certain games to certain studios and just let them do their thing. Like I mean I think that might be a possibility of, if this game wasn't so good, coming out.
If you remember back, they were in a hard spot, right? You look at Anthem. That was just not good, a not good release. And then before that, the Mass Effect issues. And then before that, they had issues with Battlefront 2 with the microtransactions, like tanked their stocks. Mm-hmm. So 2019 truly was Respawn coming through for EA, because Apex Legends just skyrocketed their stock, and people were, didn't even hear that game. It came out of nowhere, and it's, critically acclaimed, and people are still playing it and still making the money. And to come out with 2 games in a calendar year that are both critically acclaimed and then do sales, man, EA better be, coming to Respawn's door and re-upping their contract and paying them more money, because I don't know, man. Their stocks were tanking before this year, you know. So.
Yeah, no, I think to your point, I think they saved that Star Wars franchise, not the entire franchise, but look, the Battlefront games were not good. There was a lot of criticism levied against them. I think this saves face for them, and EA making a Star Wars game. And I will say this, it's definitely, I guess if I have one minor complaint, you guys might disagree. And I think I mentioned this to Eric. And this might be just me coming off Death Stranding. I can get to that later on why I feel the way I do, but a lot of the parkour and things feel very familiar to some of the games that I've played this generation, like Uncharted 4, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and that's not an overly negative thing. It's just very familiar things that I've played. That's maybe my only it's a very minor complaint.
So. I was talking about this on my stream because people were talking about this as a negative. In movies, there's no movie out there that doesn't draw inspiration from other movies, right? Even the directors talk about it. Like Endgame directors, they'll talk about where they drew inspiration for certain characters or story arcs. Even in The Mandalorian, they talk about how they drew inspiration from old samurai movies, right? You could look at it almost scene by scene, it would happen, but it's new characters. So in entertainment, it's very rare to find just completely new something that's never been done before. So I was telling people that, when I'm going through this game and I squeeze through a little crevice, it reminds me of Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah.
Or
exactly,
if I go to a checkpoint and I die and I have to respawn at that checkpoint, it reminds me of Dark Souls or something like that. But I feel like they took a lot of good elements from a bunch of different games and smashed it into one thing. And I don't think that that's a bad thing necessarily, because there's a lot of people that try to copy certain games and they fell at it, right? There's a lot of copycats of Dark Souls games and they don't work. Sometimes if you copy stuff, it just is a complete fail. But in this instance, I feel like they drew inspiration from a lot of things, right? Tomb Raider, Uncharted, Dark Souls, there's a bunch. Even Titanfall, the wall running. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say the parkour in Titanfall. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's only and I say this, a minor complaint. It's not, I wouldn't dock if I was reviewing it, I wouldn't dock the game for it. But I think my perspective, just coming out of, I think the reason why I'm feeling this way, and I know why. I said this to Eric when we were talking about it. It's because I'm playing Death Stranding, and so Death Stranding completely bucks a lot of those traditional tropes that we see in gameplay. And so I think coming from that to that's kind of why I feel the way I do. Again, I'm not knocking him per se. It's just a minor thing that, it's a me thing,
Yeah. All right. Well, let me go in and actually say some criticisms that I have.
Well, hold on real quick. Let Forte chime in real quick.
I was just going to say, I think this also goes back to when we were kicking around the idea of other studios that could work on Star Wars. And we were saying, like, what would it be like for a Naughty Dog to actually work on a Star Wars game? And just, you will automatically just see the type of game like Uncharted and Last of Us built into that game. And I honestly believe that Respawn did as good of a job as I think Naughty Dog would have did with just the way that the game flows and everything. Like, when I was playing through it and I beat it, I was like, this game was very thoughtful and intentional with the things you did in the game. Now, there was some things that were hit or miss in the game, but overall, I wasn't really thinking about the systems that were trying to get in my way versus the story was like very compelling, and just getting a little bit more of a deeper dive into the whole Inquisitor and Second Sister thing. And I was like, man, by the time you finish the game, you have another appreciation for something that you probably never knew about if you're just a person that watched the mainline Star Wars movies and didn't dive deeper into the expanded universe. So I was coming from that direction, and it was kind of filtering everything that I was enjoying about the game and where the game was trying to lead me to based on, the source material they had.
So I'm seeing in the chat like about the parkouring, and I'll definitely say that, right? I feel like this game had a deadline by EA, and that's where EA comes in. I feel like this game could have used about 6 more months of polish, because there's some instances where you clip through the map, or the jumping mechanics when you're trying to jump up to a ledge. A lot of times you just be jumping around looking like an idiot because you won't attach to things.
Right.
Yeah.
And I saw online, it was kind of a joke. It's called Fallen Order because how many times you fall off the map. And I mean, that's true, because there's a lot of times I'm falling. And I know for a fact, because like in Dark Souls, you fall off the map, you die, right? You respawn at the checkpoint, you're dead. In this game, you fall off the map, it respawns you, and it takes a little health away. I know that they did this because they know people were going to fall off the map a lot, because the mechanics aren't as clean as they could be, and I think that's just a deadline thing. I think that EA didn't put out a Star Wars game. They canned Amy Hennig's project, canned a bunch of other Star Wars projects, and they said, hey, we need to get this game out. We have a deadline, and that's why it has the issues it has. I don't put that blame on Respawn. I feel like if they had another 6 months to polish it, it would be up there with, the Naughty Dogs with how clean it was. I don't think it's a developer thing. It's a time thing, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. And actually, it's funny. Funny you mentioned it, because I do remember seeing your tweet, and I was kind of like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, because there's some instances where it doesn't feel as polished as it could be. But even that being said, this will be my last, thing that I say about Fallen Order before I go to slow-mo. But even with that being said, I mean, I think the mechanics for what they are still work pretty well. I will say this: this is my favorite Star Wars game since probably Force Unleashed. But Slow-mo, I'll go to you, man, because I know you wanted to chime in real quick and tell everybody how bad Star Wars is and so forth.
Hey, no. I mean, it's really not that bad. Like the story, I do agree with you guys about the story. I am enjoying the story. I do like the characters in the field, like the way the art direction. You can definitely tell like these guys got captured the actual essence of like what Star Wars looks like. So when you see the architecture of buildings and things like that, like it looks like a Star Wars game. Like if someone was walking in the room while you were playing and they looked, like, oh, that must be Star Wars. Cause like they could just look at it and be like, yeah, that looks like Star Wars. So they really hit that. I do like the voice acting is really good. My issues are more of like the little things, like a lot of you guys. I'm gonna get to the Wookiee. That's the big thing. That's a big issue with me. But the other, like the little things you guys talked about, like you doing the swinging, you're supposed to grab a rope, but you literally go through the rope and just fall, and it's just like, what? Like, how did I miss that? The rope went through my body, and I just fell and died. And it's just sometimes I get the whole Dark Souls-ish aspect of things when you end up dying fighting some huge monster, but the last time that you did a meditation save point was like a good 2 areas of fighting people back, and now you gotta just run through all that to get back there. I understand how some people can get upset with that. I really don't that much, but I still kind of see this as a slight negative. But I do agree with something that Gregor said in the chat, where he says that it does everything that a lot of great games do. It just doesn't really do them better than those games. And I can definitely say, yeah, I agree with that, with the platforming, like Uncharted, all those things. Like, it's done well, but it's not done as well as those other games. And that may be exactly going to what Salty was saying about the game not having enough time to get that polished. Like, I really wonder if it had 6 more months, what it would have came out as. But oh my gosh, those Wookiees. So
why is the Wookiee an issue for you, Slow-mo? Like,
dude, the Wookiees look anemic. They look like ain't nobody feeding these Wookiees. They look like they all skipped leg day. Like, I don't understand why these Wookiees look like this. And then it's like when I first saw the first Wookiee, right? I walked off my ship and I was just like, yo, what is that? Is that a Wookiee? I walked in, I took a screenshot of it and put it on Twitter. But then, like, I should have took a second screenshot to look at the front of the Wookiee, because he looked like he had it looked like somebody like caved in his chest. Like, his chest was like, the way he was standing was like very like slumped over, and he had a bird chest. You know, and then like his arms were just hanging. I was just like, what is going on with these Wookiees? These are not my Wookiees. My Wookiees don't look like this. This is crazy. And I'm just like, yo, I don't understand how this made it to gold looking like this. The hair on them, it literally looks like you went down to Party City and got a Wookiee outfit, right, for Halloween.
You crazy, man.
And you put that thing on, and the hair is just like, hey, look, man, it's the best we could do. And you're just like, all right, I mean, it's for Halloween, why not? That's what the hair looks like in this game. It is abysmal. Whoever designed that, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Hey, Born Distracted says it's hard to capture hair in video games, so.
That is true, and we, as you know, very many of us on this panel are black, and we know it for a fact. Whenever we see, we have like a create a character menu, and you try to create a black guy's hair, and you see the children,
that ain't happening,
bruh. Seriously,
it's like why is my goatee like it has a process in it?
right. Yo, look. I'm sorry, but black hair don't look like a big block of black cheese. Like,
yeah, we don't all look like Eddie Murphy in Vampire in Brooklyn.
Exactly.
Yo, like, thank you. Like, it's like that's what they look like. It's like there's a playbook, and it's like black characters, and there's just a picture of Eddie Murphy in Vampire or Boomerang. That's it. That's all you got. You know, it's just crazy, man.
Or the crazy hairstyles of Sam Jackson in every movie.
Right, like
just natural juices and berries,
lopsided, afros and stuff. It's just like what is happening here,
man?
Hey, they're straight Wookiees, man, like rescue Wookiees.
Yeah, but to go back to it, like I think the voice acting is good, but it's still there's something about the cutscenes, and they're not really cutscenes; they're in-engine scenes, But it's just like it just seems so lifeless. That's the right word. Sometimes when you look at the voice actor's face, when you see like Cal talking to another character, like when he's talking to Saw Gerrera, this is like very. I was playing this earlier, so this is like very fresh on my mind. But when I was talking to Saw Gerrera, and I'm looking and I changed the camera angle and look at Cal, and he's just kind of like he's just saying like he has like the voice actor is putting all this emotion in, but it's just none of it showing up on the actual character's face, and I'm just like, that kind of like really doesn't takes me out of the moment. And the very last thing I'm gonna say is that I enjoy the combat, especially now that I'm getting more skills and more powers and developing more. And now I can just run through groups of enemies and look real cool doing it. I'm enjoying that now. But that camera, good grief, that camera sucks so bad. Like I'm sick of the camera because it's like it's always moving all over the place. I don't like the camera, especially when I do a finisher and I don't get to see the finisher because the camera is like looking like at the atmosphere, like off in the distance, and I see like part of my Jedi's head as he's decapitating some.
They want you to see the skybox, sir.
Yeah, I'm just like,
yes.
I'm like,
it's all about skyboxes.
Get back to the action. It definitely happens in like tight areas where it's like, say you're in a ship and there's like a tight hallway or something. It happens a lot more there. But just anytime like I'm up against a wall and I do a finisher on someone, I'm missing it. It's like that happens like 50% of the time. But overall, I know I said a lot of complaints, but overall, it is a good game. Is it like the best game I played this year? No, but I do enjoy it though.
Yeah,
we know what game that is.
Oh yeah, of course you know what game that is.
Oh boy, okay.
It's the game that wasn't nominated.
Right.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah. B Money, Eric, do you guys have any and J Dub any comments on Star Wars Fallen Order?
Not really. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I'll wait for a price drop on that to get it.
What?
Yeah, I was trying to finish the Death Stranding before I jumped into that one.
No, I hear you. Hey, that's good. Yeah. Good choice. Good choice. I hear you, man.
Death Stranding in the first 2 minutes to turn the game on.
Oh boy, here we go. Okay,
Forte, stop cloud chasing.
I'm keeping the same energy I had all the whole time, brother. I ain't changed my opinion.
Forte is gonna play it when he's like, "Oh my god, this is breathtaking." It's what I've been missing out on this.
Just because a girl's good looking don't mean she got any brains underneath her head.
I ain't trying to fuck with her head.
Well said, sir.
A paper bag over it. That's probably what Death Stranding means.
Oh wow, Death Stranding's a girl with a paper bag. Wow.
Hey. Death Stranding could be that girl. Hey, we all been there. Death Stranding could be that girl. She may not be the prettiest, but she got the fat ass, and you're like, you know what? I can work with it.
You throw a paper bag over your head.
All right.
We all been there.
All right.
Turn your head. Turn it face the opposite direction.
A girl could walk in the club with goat horns, you'd be like, but she got a fat ass.
That's true.
He said goat horns. All right, guys.
And your boy like, she got goat horns. She got goat horns on. Like, hey, look at the ass. I'm saying.
I just want to say, guys, this is a family-friendly show. We're sponsored by Disney.
It is.
Are you sure?
No, we're not. But
we gotta we might need to make that real though with this whole Copa thing. So make sure we don't appeal to kids.
Yeah. Hey, Gregor Von Doom, have you played Death Stranding? I'm wondering if he's playing it. But B Money, any thoughts? Have you played the game?
No, man, I haven't played it. I got it Thursday and just been playing Death Stranding.
Oh, okay.
You've been playing Death Stranding in 2K.
All right. Yep. Yeah, no, I hear that. All right, cool. Let's go. I want to go to the next topic. I want to go to, J-Dub, I'm not going to pick on you per se, but I do have some questions for you, sir. Regarding Google Stadia. Now, look, guys, I'm not saying that Google Stadia is doomed. I'm not gonna.
If you got a problem with him, you got a
problem.
I'm
gonna say it's doomed. But
you got a problem with J-Dub. You got a problem with him when it comes to Google Stadia.
Well, go ahead. Answer your question so I can go ahead and put this stuff to rest.
Let me ask you before we get to, because I do want to talk about some of the reviews because it did get some mixed reviews. What were you? Did you receive it in time, or because I think some people had some delivery issues, right? Did you get your?
Mine is delivered tomorrow, but I got my access and I was able to set up my account and actually play games on my web browser or my phone.
Okay, so you can still play without the Chromecast or whatever it is they're going to give you.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, exactly. The Chromecast is for if you want to do it on your television, but you can play it. You can basically play it on any device.
Yeah.
So I got my laptop.
But correct me if I'm wrong. You can't play in 4K without the Chromecast Ultra, right?
Well, that's
that's TV. Yeah, you won't be playing in anything without the Chromecast.
And you're not really playing 4K. They apparently it's up-resing from 1080p.
It's scalable at the moment, depending on your connections and stuff like that. So it's streaming, right? If you want a native, uncompressed, whatever, you're gonna have to play on PC. No, I'm just telling you, it's PC, right?
No, I know.
I'm
streaming, giving you a hard time.
Streaming itself, yeah. Streaming itself it has to be compressed. That's just it is what it is.
Yeah, and they, it's interesting. Like I read a couple reviews. Like I think VentureBeat, they said it worked well for them, but other people may not have the same experience. Then there's other people that had reviewed the game, had reviewed Stadia and said that they had all the. They had 150 meg downloads, but they were getting a lot of stuttering. The games weren't running it like they should. They thought they should. They could see some downgrade in graphic fidelity. And I'm not saying, and I'm going back to what I said. I don't think this thing is doomed. What I really think they should have done. I know they kind of did that, like that beta test that Slow-Mo tried out. I think they should have continued doing this because clearly this thing isn't launching. It's not a full-on product launch. If you want, I think the allure of Stadia, at least when they came out at GDC in March and talked about Stadia, for me at least, I thought it was going to be a Netflix type service. We found out that it's not. You got to buy the games and stuff to play on Stadia, and that's fine. I mean, I guess the thing for me is, the idea of Stadia, at least how I understand it, is it's supposed to kind of tear that wall down for people who maybe don't want to go out and spend $500 or whatever the case is on a game console, or $250 or whatever the case is. But right now, the only way you can get it is by paying $129 for I forget what the official name of the
Founders Edition.
That's the Founders Edition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it doesn't sound like they're going to make the free version of Stadia available until 2020.
January. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think again,
This was Enrique. This was always known. They said that from day one.
But here's the thing, man. I always feel like with gaming and when you release a new product, with xCloud out right now. Look, I haven't played Stadia. Like full disclosure, I haven't tried it, but I am on the xCloud beta, and that shit's like sorcery. Like I don't know what Microsoft's doing, but I'm playing Ace Combat on my phone on my 4G LTE T-Mobile network, and it's like almost like 1-to-1. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
And if you look at xCloud, I mean, like to me, Google's uphill battles this, convincing people to leave or to want to leave maybe their current ecosystem that they're invested in, whether it's PlayStation, PC, or xCloud. And there's other streaming devices. We know about Sony tweaking PS Now, and we know about xCloud and Game Pass, and how those are going to come together. A couple things, and again, I don't think it's doomed, but I do think there's an uphill battle for Google. One, they don't have, J-Dub, and I think you would agree with this, they don't have that killer app that you have to go out and get to play on Stadia. Like I think they just opened their first party studio like recently, I think, right, Slow-Mo? Like I know we talked about it
like early this year,
right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we know how long games can take to develop. They don't have that killer app right now. And the reviews have been mixed. I mean, for example, Wire Magazine. They said even like under ideal conditions, there's a noticeable difference between playing a game on Stadia and running the game on local hardware, which you mentioned, J-Dub, like PC or PS4. There's a certain clarity, depth, and sharpness you get when a game is rendered in real time that's absent when you stream, no matter how high quality is. With Stadia, games sometimes look like you're watching an ultra high resolution gameplay video rather than actually playing the game yourself. They look drab. If you want to understand, go watch. They click a link to a video, make it full screen, set the quality of the highest on your display can support. This is what it looks like to play games on Stadia. Stadia excels in that middle ground, just shy of ultra def. The other thing too is, the data caps. Like that's like I don't know. Like I have Comcast Xfinity and I have a 1 terabyte data cap, which is, I mean, people's like, oh, it's a lot. Some people probably say it's a lot. I blew through over 108. I almost hit a terabyte last month.
Oh man, I'm hitting 1,800 a month with Comcast every month.
Yeah, and I think you have unlimited data, right? Like I think you opted into paying more to get that, right? Slow-Mo, or not Slow-Mo.
No, I opted in for like a good 6 months to pay more, but then they released the new modem, and if you get the new modem, it comes and they give you unlimited data with that modem.
Gotcha. So okay.
I get unlimited data with the new hotspot, not the hotspot, but the new wireless modem they use now.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, we got to talk about that, man, because I wonder if you have the same one that I have, and if we do, I need to be calling Comcast. But one of the things they talked about was data caps. On the Chrome browser at 720p, they're saying Stadia used between 12 and 20 megabytes in contrast. And if you contrast with Netflix, Netflix actually can buffer content, so you don't have that hit to your data as much as you do with Stadia. But Stadia can't do that. Stadia can't buffer, the information that they're sending over. So playing Stadia, even at 720p, will be about 7 gigs per hour. So imagine if you're playing 20 hours a week. I mean that, and you have a data cap. I mean that shit's gonna add up. And again, I know we know that this was a potential hurdle for them. I know they've talked about it. I think data caps are ridiculous. I don't know why we have them. I know Verizon Fios doesn't have it. Unfortunately, I am
AT&T.
Does AT&T have data caps?
And I have their gig service that doesn't have it.
Yeah, it's not common that like AT&T or Verizon will have it because they are usually the internet backbone to the areas that they service, so they can kind of do what they want within those areas. Verizon in the DMV area where me and Enrique live, Verizon is the backbone of this entire area, so everyone has to go to them to do business, to be an ISP, and so they are typically the only one that does no data caps in this area, which kind of makes sense, but it is what it is. But I know like in other areas, you'll see Time Warner is the big one, or it's AT&T, and it's usually those three for the entire nation. But you'll see other ISPs, but you think they're competing, but they're really not. They don't really compete.
Yeah. The thing that I got, my takeaway, at least from the reviews, the consensus seems to be that, that with some of the lacking features that aren't going to be at launch, and I'm not going to get into all that. Some of them, I think where you can kind of jump into a game right away or family shared, those things aren't available. Again, I think Jada, I think you talked about IOP on Sunday. Those are features that are going to be rolled out over the next couple months. But the consensus seems to be that with Stadia, you should probably just wait. Lack of games, they don't have that killer app. Some of the lack of the features they talked about when they revealed it, and the $130 investment that you have to make right now, it might not be worthwhile for a vast majority of consumers. But and not to turn this in a Google versus xCloud thing, but having played xCloud, guys, like for me, it's hard to say, what, I want to try Stadia. Because right now I'm playing xCloud and I'm already in that ecosystem. There's all these games. There's even games that
you don't own. There's games in the preview that you don't own
that I don't own
or aren't in Game Pass,
Madden.
and like Madden, and you can play those games.
Yeah, and so it's like, go ahead, Salty.
No, I think it's clear that Google and Microsoft are big, competitors in the business space, and they rushed this out because Microsoft was putting shit together. I think that's the main reason. Like, there's no other reason why you would launch a service like this, pretty much unfinished and half baked, other than to beat your competitor out because you felt like it needed to go that way. And I think Microsoft had a plan to get xCloud out a certain way, and then they kind of backtracked on it. Heard stuff about Stadia. I've heard statements from Phil Spencer himself when he was doing some interviews and stuff like that. He's like, I asked him, he's like, well, why don't you just ship it as is? And he's like, well, would you ship it like that? So
yeah, I remember that interview.
They know what's going on in the industry, and they want to sell Game Pass. So the vessel to sell Game Pass or an add-on is an add-on to Game Pass, right? You subscribe to Xbox Game Pass, you get access to xCloud, and then they're putting it out in a preview form as opposed to a paid version. And it's just the amount of games that are on xCloud right now, and it's digging the grave for Stadia, and it's starting to put the dirt on it, because Google has shown a tendency to can projects when they aren't successful, and it just seems like nobody that I know is signing up for Stadia. And I'm trying to ask myself, like, what's the target demographic buy into Stadia? Like, is it business? Is it?
I think,
Is it business guys that travel a lot that don't want to bring hardware with them? Obviously, like, who are they selling it to? That's what I want to know.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jada. Real quick, I just want to make a comment real quick, and I'll let you have the stage, sir. With regards to what Salty was saying, with the xCloud, like you talked about, like the ability to stream all these games and games that you have in Game Pass. There's no additional investment. It's an addition to. And I think that to me is the appeal and the advantage xCloud has. And I think to your point, Salty, what you're saying is like, who does this like who does Google market this to? Like, who's the customer here? That's if they're trying to go after people who don't traditionally console game but play consoles. I mean, don't traditionally play console games, but play free to play. Well, we already know those folks, and I think Slow-Mo, you and I have talked about this too, about the challenge.
They don't pay anything up front. They don't pay anything up front. So like they're already out with the price tag that's there, and they won't spend $60 on a game to play it. Yeah. And also the kind of games that they like aren't really so far shown in the current library that Stadia has. They're not really into those kind of games. They're into the kind of game they can just pick up and play and then drop it, when you got something to do at that time. So it's
Real quick, from a first-hand experience with xCloud, because I just got it yesterday. I posted a video on my Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that, man.
Literally, the input lag is not noticeable to a point where I would stop playing, because I've had experiences with games, and especially if there's input lag, it could ruin your experience. Like absolutely. I played Borderlands 2, and it was kind of sluggish. It felt like I needed to speed up my aim sensitivity, but that was about it. And I played Crackdown 3. I didn't even have the game installed. Boom, I push play on it. You load it up, you play it, you pick up where you left off. That's what I'm saying here. Like you don't have to pay additional money to get more games, and they're going to keep adding to that library. So like all these Xbox Game Pass games are going to be added to that. So I don't have to pay $60 to get this game to stream it. I have my Xbox Game Pass membership, and then I could stream my games. So,
guys, I think, and I'm just stopping right here. Again, you asked the question, right? And it's, who is this targeted towards? You guys are assuming that Google wants a Game Pass type structure. They said they do not want to be the Netflix of gaming. They've stated that over and over. And I think a lot of gamers are trying to push them into that box. Google wants to be that company where it's like, if you travel, if you want to play on your phone, if you want to play on your computer, if you want to play in 4K, 60, HDR on your TV, you can do it all. Now, here's the thing. From what I know, xCloud does what, 720p on the cell phone and the tablet? Yep. Well, it doesn't do 4K HDR and with 60 frames. And then right? Here's another thing. So that's a differentiator.
But Stadia doesn't do that yet either, right?
Yeah, no, it actually does. It scales based on your bandwidth and stuff like that. So and again,
but there's been a lot of there's been some debate about that, because there have been people who were saying they were in the beta.
I can explain that. I can explain that. All right.
Okay.
So here's the thing, right? This is the Founders Edition. They've always said it from day one that this was a soft launch. This was never rolling out to the masses. They said that it would roll out to the masses in January. So November, they said in November, the Founders Edition, the early adopters would have it. And obviously you can do whatever you want and stuff. So some of these features are going to be rolling out every week, according to Google. Mm-hmm. This is their word. According to them, these features are going to be rolling out. So I never went in thinking that day one, this was a full-fledged system, because they've never stated that. I know, I've been following Google Stadia since Project Stream, which I was part of. I'm part of their forums. I'm part of their, FAQs and stuff like that. And I get it. The masses was not part of that. The masses don't read. The masses don't care, because it's like, streaming. I mean, look at how many people are against streaming. And I get why they're afraid. So a lot of people fear streaming, because they figure that eventually this reality will set in, that they will no longer have a console in the future. This is why they fear PS Now, xCloud, and Google Stadia. So there's a lot of pushback behind this stuff. But while we're talking, I'm playing Destiny 2 on my PC from my Chrome browser while I'm podcasting. I am firm believer in xCloud, PS Now, and Google Stadia. Is Google Stadia going to be the same product today as it will be in 3 months, 2 months, 6 months? No, it won't. For the same reason that xCloud will continue to get games, it'll continue to get better. The resolution will probably go higher. It eventually may, have a Chrome stick type device where you can plug into a TV. This is just what it is. And so it's disingenuous for us to now granted, a lot of the bad perception that Google have with Stadia is warranted. No lie. It is warranted. These guys haven't shipped out a lot of people codes yet. They haven't sent out a lot of people products yet. Luckily, I got mine and so I'm good. But yes, they deserve that, because when you're rolling out a new product, that's what you get. You gotta make sure that stuff is tight. Now, if they were rolling this out to the masses, that would be one thing, right? But they're saying we have a limited amount that we're selling, and that's for founders, and you're going to spend $129. You get a controller, you get the buddy pass, you get the stick, you get this and that and all kind of stuff. That's for the founders. Keep in mind, this stuff is going to be free for everybody else in January. You can go log in, get your Google name, and play in 1080p. All you have to do is buy your games. Whatever game you want to buy, just buy it, and it's yours. You don't have to pay a fee or anything. But if you want the free games, if you want the perks, if you want the 4K 60 HDR capability and stuff like that, then you're going to have to pay the $9 a month, which some people might say is too high, too low. It doesn't matter. It's all opinionated. But I just wanted to kind of dispel some of the bad perceptions or the rumors that are out there. Of course, people are going to have varying performance issues. Some people have slow internet. Some people have middling internet. Some people have ultra high internet. Some people are closer to the servers. Some people are not. That's just what it is. And with every category, PS Now has been out since 2014. And people play it to this day, and they still say they have artifacting, they have middling services and stuff like that. So this is just part of technology, guys. Just everybody's going to have these issues.
Okay, I got a couple things to address here, Jack.
Same with me. I'll go after you though.
Okay, so when you say that, like, a lot of these things people should have expected because it's a soft launch. Well, I think anytime like you are selling to like anybody can buy it, now it's open season. It's open to everyone, and you need to be on your P's and Q's and actually delivering on all the things that you said you were going to deliver on at launch. And at launch, they were features that they said back at whatever the conference was earlier this year. I can't remember the name of it right now, but back then when they first announced Stadia, there were all these features they said that would be there at launch, and those features are not there, like Stream Connect, Stat Share, Crowd Play.
Did they say that was going to be there at launch? Because from what I remember,
they did.
From what I remember, right? From the videos on YouTube, which they don't delete their videos, so you can always go back.
Okay.
Those were always asterisks by there, and if you read the fine print, it said these are features that are going to be rolling out. It never said this is their day one, but I do get your point. Now, here's a counterpoint.
Let me finish first. I was in the beta. Okay?
Slow-mo, real quick. Yeah. I don't mean to interrupt you, man. I just want to address something in live chat. The Real Culito, I love that name, by the way. It says, people keep in mind most console launchers usually launch with low amount of content. That is true, but I will say this: the difference, at least with the big three, they have established studios and franchises. I think that's a big differentiator between, PlayStation. Let's say PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet launching versus Google Stadia. Go ahead, Slow-mo.
Okay. So, like, I was in Project Stream last year, the beta, and I had a pretty bad time. Like, I was probably say my experience was on the end of like those who are giving the negative reviews for Stadia right now. Now, I don't have bad internet at all. I have at the time I had 150 up and down, but now I have 1 gig up and down with unlimited with Verizon. Woo! Now, I was trying to play with the only game that was in the beta last year was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And for me, I know other people played it and they had a decent time with it. For me, it was a slideshow. And I mean, literally, like, it was down to the single frames. It was completely unplayable. I couldn't fight any enemies because they were just killing me because I couldn't see what was happening as they were killing me. Now, that I didn't really go too hard on them then, because it's like, you know what? It was a closed beta. I signed up for it. I knew what I was getting into. It's a beta. I like signing up for betas. I do that all the time. And I never actually like say, well, Google, you're terrible. How could you? Like, no, you're actually like, I'm doing them a service by trying to give them some feedback, and they're trying to get the bugs out. So I understand that give and take. But now at this point, you're launching. You're charging people money to pay for this. You need to have the quality at a certain level. And so far, when people are saying, hey, look, it's unplayable for me, and I have good internet, and I'm dealing with customer service, and they're saying, oh, drop it down to balance. And I drop it down to balance, and there's no change. Like, these things, they're contributing to this not being a good launch. Let's get into the first party stuff. Okay, so now it's just the content in general. You got a lot. They got quality games in their library, but they're all older games, except for Guilt. Guilt's their only exclusive, and it's fairly new. Okay, but when there's games, when I'm looking at it as a gamer, and I'm like, okay, so what would make me want to get Stadia? What do they have? They got what I can't get anywhere else is Guild. It looks okay, but it's not really a platform seller. Okay, what else you got there? You got other games that I already own on other platforms, and they perform better over what the feedback is saying locally on my other platforms. So where is the draw for me to get this product? See, if you see what I'm saying here, it's just, this is not this launch, I think, and I said this to Mooch because I had a good conversation with Mooch about this on Twitter, and I was saying to him, and I was saying, like, I appreciate Google's attempt, but I don't think this is going to work for them. But I do think that what this will do is that it will be a good example for Amazon and how they do things. Because Amazon, if you guys don't, Amazon is working on this same exact format right now. They're not ready to launch, but they've got studios that have been working on first party content. Something that
they've had that. They've been doing it for a while now. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to have multiple exclusive games that only run on whatever Amazon's doing when they launch in like a year or two, probably 2 years on that end. So, but I would say, out of all that, my question to you, J-Dub, is that you actually really feel like this is like people should have known what they were getting into when Google didn't present this in a way that was like, hey, look, guys, it's a great technology. It ain't quite there yet. So yeah, spend this money, but just don't, if it's not as good as playing from home, just know we're still working on it. That's not how they present it. They present it like it's just as good as you playing from home, and you can play it on your laptop over here, and you can play it on your phone, but it turns out that's only just your Pixel, only the Pixel right now, and it's just
no iOS support right now either.
Yeah, I know that stuff is coming, but it's like you have launched, like this product is here. All these excuses, yeah, I can understand you. This is coming. This is coming eventually. But I liken this to what happened in PS Now. When PS Now first came out, performance was abysmal. And over time, PS Now got better. They got better. Performance got better. But literally nobody cared because no one actually decided to say, oh, performance got better, let me check it out. No, it was PS Now was trash. I'm not even going to bother. And once you get that stigma, it's hard to shake that off. So that's why launches are so important, because if you don't get that launch right, you don't hit the ground running, you're really got this uphill battle trying to get people to even give you a fair shot when even after you make all the improvements, and now like
okay,
better, right?
Oh, okay, Slow Mo. All right, and you got valid points, and I can agree with you on that. Again, like I said before, this is Google's product. A lot of what they've did in their rollout is their fault. They get an L on it, and they have to do with that. Whether it's me and Mooch was talking earlier, maybe give some free games. I just noticed that they gave me Samurai Showdown on top of Destiny 2. So that was something. Cool. So here's the thing, right? Here's where I stand with Google Stadia, right? I can give these guys 6 months to a year to get their product together, because for one, I've only invested $150 $229. And mind you, most of us have spent multiple $500 $500 on Xboxes, and we're still talking about wait to E3 or wait to this. So if we can give Microsoft 6 or 7 years the benefit of the doubt, why can't we give these guys 3 months? And that's all I'm saying. Like, are we really subconsciously just scared of a Google or scared of Amazon or Walmart or somebody else who's stepping into the gaming arena because we tend to adore Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, and we don't want anybody else to come in and compete for that? Is that it? Because I'm seeing a lot of people who never put their hands on the product, never gave it a chance. It's similar stuff with other products.
Yeah.
That automatically just off the rip. And it's just puzzling that the same guys who are shitting on Google Stadia are the same ones out there adoring xCloud, when various sources, including IGN, have said that Google Stadia is the best out of all of the streaming aspects gaming services out there, whether it's GeForce Now, PS Now, or xCloud. So it's just puzzling, and I get it. Some people partial to Xbox in Microsoft's offering. Some people partial to Sony. But again, just my own personal things, right? I'm willing to give these guys some time, whether it's 6 months, whether it's a year, to get their stuff together. Because at the end of the day, I still have a PlayStation, I still have a PC, I still have an Xbox, I still have a Switch for my native experiences, right? So everyone's going to have a different reason on why they attempt to play Stadia or xCloud or PS Now. Some people travel. Some people just love tech. They just want to see different things. They're trying it on their tablets, their phones, a 4K TV. This may be viable to a lot of people. But at the end of the day, when they roll this thing out in January to everybody, not just a limited amount of people, but to everybody, it's going to be free. So you don't pay anything to try this stuff out. And again, I'm always that guy to try it out. I tried out Crackdown 3. I tried State of Decay. I tried all of the stuff that other people, make fun of and poke fun of. And this is just another tech that I tried. That's just what I do. And I can only speak for myself, right? I can only speak for myself. But I remember all the features that PlayStation announced day one, and all the features that the TV features and all the great stuff that Microsoft announced back in 2013, and we gave them chances. That stuff did not come day one. We gave them chances and opportunities to do that, and eventually it happened. Backwards compatibility was not there. PS Now was not there day one. So we were promised a lot of stuff, and we turned a blind eye, and we let those guys have their time. But Google Stadia, they just launched today? They just started shipping the stuff today, and people are already, based on other people's experiences, I'm like, come on, we're gonna have to, like, come on, as a gamer, you're gonna have to say, okay, there's a time to scream and fuss and yell and fight, and then there's times where I'm gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah. All right. I want to say one kind of point. Let me tag in. I'm gonna let everyone else go. I'm gonna give one kind of point of what he's saying. And
damn, Slow-Mo, you already talked though, right?
Okay, go ahead.
It went J-Dub,
my bad. So go ahead.
I'm gonna tag in, and then you tag. All right.
Go ahead.
I actually got to drop, man. I'm gonna go crash.
All right, man.
All right, man. Take it easy, bro.
Take it easy, man.
All right. Here's the deal with this whole streaming situation. Plain and simple, America is not ready for this kind of streaming infrastructure wise, and there's no argument against that, because the 5G rollout is supposed to happen across the nation is not even close to being where it needs to be. So the reason why people have an issue with Google is because they sound like a pyramid scheme or someone selling something on an infomercial. When they're doing their presentation, they're talking about 8K, 120 frames per second, but we're getting artifacting and all this other stuff, lag and internet spikes, and no one can say the internet is reliable 100% of the time, nor are they claiming that. But the fact is like when I go off of my Wi-Fi, so I was playing xCloud, right? and I was on my Wi-Fi. But if I go out on my T-Mobile, right, my network, which I haven't done that yet, you're going to get a different experience, right? Because if you go by an area with lots of people and they're using a lot of data, you might go up and down with your data there. So there's a lot of variables there. And I think the reason why people aren't so receptive to this whole Google situation is because Google has a monopoly on the internet, right? They are the internet. They are Google. You Google search, you have to go through Google, right? YouTube and all this other stuff. So they're putting a product out there and they're shoving it in people's faces and they're not giving people options. It's like, you need to use our service, right? You need to use our controller. You're limited on your phones, that you have to buy into this. And it's just what I'm trying to figure out, who they're selling this to. Like, J-Dub, you bought it, right? But like, who is going to say, I'm going to limit myself in all these different areas and buy these games again to get the features of Google Stadia? Like, the games that they're putting out there aren't like these brand new games that I would want to buy into the system. Destiny's been out, and all these games that they listed off, I already have on my system. So who's going to want to buy Google Stadia and plop a $60 price tag on these games to be limited to only streaming those titles? That's what I'm trying to get. Like, they don't have the content there to say, hey, we're warranting the price of buying this. That's why Xbox is different. Like, you could say what you want about people flying flags for companies, but Xbox is providing a way for people to transition into streaming, right? They're not forcing people to do it. It's an addition to the services that they're providing so people can get their feet wet. The reason why Xbox failed this generation, right, is because they were forcing people to buy their system $100 more than the PlayStation 4. It was less powerful, and they were forcing them to do the camera situation, and people did not like that. They don't like being forced to do stuff, and that's what Google is doing. They're saying, you're forced to buy our product and stream it only one way. And that's the situation with consumers. They're like, I don't want to be forced to do stuff.
Hey, Salty,
it's like, there's a lot.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I got to pay the bills real quick.
All right.
iDizzy81 with the $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. Says, you right, J-Dub. We still waiting on Halo show. What he means by Halo show, but iDizzy, man, thank you for the super
show,
chat, bro. Oh, the TV show.
I think it means the TV show, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Go ahead, Salty.
So yeah, I think it's more of just because you know how Xbox came out, right, J-Dub? Right?
Yeah.
They come out with their whole TV situation, and they're forcing people to buy the Kinect at $100 more expensive, and there was no other options. If I wanted to go buy an Xbox without a Kinect, I couldn't do it. It's like, you buy our shit or you don't, and the people just don't want to see that. That's where I'm at, because I'm not scared of streaming. I would be down to have all streaming if it worked perfectly. Hell, have all my library on the go and I could play it wherever I want. That's the dream. Like, I see these guys out there that are scared of buying digital products out there. They're still bucking that trend. They don't want to change from physical media and this and that. That's not me. It's just I want a reason to go buy Google Stadia, and I just don't see it there for me.
Yeah. Those are great points, Salty. I think the challenge, man, is like is for me, it's the value. Like, where's the value in this? I don't see it right now, and I'm not saying it's never going to be there because I don't know what the future holds. But I think the challenge right now is, and if I look at what I can get on the xCloud, where it's like Salty said, it's in addition to, it's an option. I don't have to really buy any more games. Like, for me, it's a tough sell to say, you know what, and to your point, J-Dub, I mean, Google might be the best streaming service, but for me, if I don't find value in the content they're offering, I don't care if it streams perfectly, I'm probably not going to get it. And I think that's the challenge. Like, they don't have that killer app that you have to, where you say, you know what, I need Stadia. I need Stadia to play ABC game because I can't play that game anywhere else, and it's an awesome experience. They don't have that right now, and I think what Slow-Mo was saying earlier, I don't think it's people were saying, oh, this thing is, we're scared to try new things. But I will say this, and I think based on what Salty was saying about Microsoft and their kickoff of Xbox One and being $100 more expensive and forcing Kinect and not giving us an option, I think for them, optics are very important during a launch. You only have one shot at getting it right, and to me at least, in my opinion, I think that's the challenge for them right now. That this thing really hasn't gone off firing in all cylinders. Maybe I would even say maybe where they would have liked to see in terms of a launch. But that's just my 2 cents. B, man.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say something real quick before B goes about it was something in regards to what Jay was saying about giving Stadia time. I think the overall sentiment of like giving a product time or giving a platform time to prove that they can provide a quality product is more to do with building equity in gamers' minds. For example, if you go back to 2013 and you talked about how like we gave Microsoft all this time to come, to show up to give us a quality experience this gen, and for a lot of people they left because Microsoft didn't give them that quality experience, and they did give them some time. And there's some people out there who still are just like, I'm still waiting, wait for E3. But like, I think the 360, the last gen 360 was so good to people that they built up equity in those people that, yeah, you know what, because I had all these great experiences with you before, I'm going to wait for you to get yourself together. If PlayStation started slipping up, they built up so much equity this gen that there are plenty of gamers that'll be like, it's okay. You guys can get it together, because I remember God of War. I remember Spider-Man. I remember Horizon Zero Dawn. So you guys can get this together. It's that equity that you build up. Nintendo has the same thing. That consistent level of quality gives people that feeling that, hey, they messed up a Wii U, but that Switch, I think that Switch got it. It's that equity. And the problem with Google is that they're the new dog in here, and they don't have any equity built up.
Oh yeah,
there's nothing. Right. There's nothing there, right? Yeah,
right. It's definitely an uphill climb for these guys.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's kind of that's kind of my overall point. It's an uphill. I'm not saying it's doomed, but I think it's an uphill battle for them. B Money, do you have some thoughts on this, man?
Well, when I first showed this and I told y'all it wasn't ready, and everybody just kind of laughed at me. It's like, oh, it's Google.
B, you didn't predict this. Yes.
They got all this money. Google's gonna be ready, and I was like, "Nah, man, y'all crazy as hell." And it just, it's proof in the pudding that that they really weren't ready at the end of the day. And I think Google has so many services, and like Slomo was saying, and how Jay was saying, we do have to give them time. We have to understand that they are the new kids on the block, and a lot of people are like, oh, well, they got all these old games or whatever, and they're charging a lot of money for them. And it's like, yeah, but it's new to the platform. Those developers had to, use Vulkan. They had to use that platform to develop those games on. It's not like they just poured those games over there. So, there's cost that comes with that. And, I'm sure Google and the developers had to go in and decide on what they wanted to do there. So, yeah, you have to understand that from that point as well. It's the same way we looked at, the Switch and how it's got a bunch of old games that, people felt like, they should have been lower priced, but they still charge $60 for it. So, it's the same thing here. I feel like, like Jay was saying, I think if we give them, a year, and really, double back on what, how Stadia launched and what it looks like a year later, I think, they'll be in a different place. The one thing with Google is you just have to hope that they, continue to stick with it. And I think with gaming being such a big market, and so many people, jumping into gaming now, and gaming being the biggest entertainment, thing out there, I don't think Google's going to run away from it right away. I think, they really got to put their nose in the ground and figure out, where they can carve out their niche. And I think they might have some success. Salty was asking, who they're actually selling to. And, it's got to be the person who's getting into gaming, who, doesn't really want to invest into a PC, but, he's at work and, everybody's talking about Destiny or whatever the latest game is. He's like, you know what? I'll spend the $60 or the $30 or whatever it is, and I can check it out and see if that's something I can get into. But I think the one thing that Google has to look into is, being able to join communities, through the other platforms and develop some sort of crossplay so that they're not just in this closed box playing with people who are on the Google service. So I think over time, just like the platforms that we play on now, they'll evolve and new features and new things will come along. So maybe that's there's something that'll come down the line. But like I said before, they ain't ready, and we just gotta wait till they get there.
Oh, it's a great point, man. I think I would interpret the consensus maybe, and I maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's the consensus here of the panel. But Forte, man, you have your ears to the gaming grounding streets, man. Any thoughts on Stadia?
I mean, the biggest thing is it just was a double whammy for them when it came to when it was when it released and stuff. I remember when they were talking about this and we saw the stream and everything, and everybody was like saying, "Hey man, Google get this thing out first. What's going to happen with xCloud?" But then Microsoft didn't panic, and then they dropped from 5 games to 50 extra games on us, and now everybody's looking at Stadia like it's dead in the water. And honestly, the biggest thing is both these things are technically in somewhat of a beta. I mean, even though they do have a physical release for Stadia, it's not the finished product. Only time's going to tell. And yes, it does come down to the actual games and stuff. But just like B said, it's really they're trying to just get people into the ecosystem. That that's the one thing. They have the browser and stuff they can get people in on. They're not trying to say you don't have to go out and buy any physical hardware or anything. Now it's kind of skewed because people think you have to buy something because of the Founders Edition, but that's if you want to get in day one. You got to go pay for that. But if you just wait for the actual launch, you can play right off your browser. And, if you want to stream at a higher fidelity, you pay the extra money. If you just want to do it for free, you just buy the game you want. And I think ultimately it's going to be fine. I think Google put way too much into this for them to actually pull like they usually pull on other things. I mean, even when they usually pull out on other things, it's usually after a long time. It's not like they just up and say, we're not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
They usually let it go through a maturation process, and then they figure like after 5 or 6 years of it being what it is, they say this isn't working for us. Let's cut our losses now because it's very expensive to go out and build a gaming development house, and the fact that they did that, I don't expect them to give up on it before they actually get their first one or probably a couple of games out of that development house. And that's when you'll see what Stadia actually has the offer. But as of right now, they're going to live off the back of third party, pretty much like Xbox did for the majority of this generation. And I think people forget about that. And they're actually giving you an option later on to actually not actually have to own any type of hardware. You could just stream it from whatever device you have, and it just seems like a very tall hill to climb because we know what Microsoft is offering. And, being able to get access to 50 games while it's still in the beta, and we know it's going to be even more at the time of xCloud's launch, and the fact that they're going to probably tie that into Game Pass and everything, and then you're going to have an existing library. But the people that's going to be on Game Pass are the people that have Xbox. They already have Xboxes, or they have PlayStations where they can actually double dip from both sides. I think Google's going after a completely different clientele. They like you said, they're getting people that aren't really into the gaming spirit like that. And then they just want to try things out. And I think, and then the fact that it's tied into YouTube, when people are streaming, watching movies and stuff, or watching shows on YouTube, and they get those little play now buttons, I really wonder what kind of engagement is going to be around that, because that's right in your face. And if you pop your credit card in there, or if they do something smart, like give you a demo where you can actually just play like an hour's worth of the game right there off your browser, that might convince a lot of people. So I really just think it's way too early to tell, and it really just comes down to the systems they put in place over the course of the next year, 2 years to see what's going to happen here. But I don't think they're going to give up on it anytime soon. like everybody thinks they are.
Yeah, that's a great point, Forte. I think, and I think that goes like what you said, just kind of goes into what I think the consensus for the reviews were. Maybe not for today, not something you buy today, but as these new features get added, and that was noted in some of these reviews, maybe it's something you look at later, especially when the free version comes, and then you start getting those play buttons on YouTube, and you're able to jump into, kind of jump into the game. Without having to download, which is one of the selling points of Google. You don't have to. It's one of the things that the reviews noted. Like, it was nice being able to buy a game or type in the code and the game be ready for you right away, not having to like sit and wait for it to download. So, somebody in the live chat said, "I'd rather buy Soldier Boy's console."
Lord!
I think it was Ryan Landis.
I just think people have people like to just literally take a narrative and run with it nowadays. It's like,
ooh, good segue.
Most people don't really, most people just don't. Yeah, most people just don't know how to just what happens before you say doom and gloom on everything.
Good segue, sir. I do want to get to the last taco. I almost said taco.
I'm hungry. Taco of the
I just ate a taco, man. I'm freaking fish taco.
I'm not gonna lie. Oh, that sounds good, man. I ain't gonna lie. I'm hungry. Let me tell you something. Tacos are good. If you don't like tacos, I don't know what to say. Tacos are good.
There's something wrong with you, man.
Yeah, there's something wrong. I love tacos. That's gonna be. Yeah, I'm gonna. You know what, man? I think before every show we have to eat tacos. We go live.
I'm down.
Anyhow, I do want to get to the Game Awards 2019 nominees, and I'm really gonna focus. I think the one category everyone seems to be focused on right now, the Game of the Year category, and there is a little bit of controversy.
You don't say.
I think depending who you speak to, there's controversy. Some people are just like, whatever, nothing to see here. Other people are full out saying, that there's corruption
in the industry.
There's corruption. There's
I think the wrong game is being talked about, if you ask me.
Yeah. So let's first get to the and then I do want to give my 2 cents later on down the road on this whole conspiracy theory, this deep state theory of
state.
Yeah, because that's what it is. I mean, it's a fucking deep state theory. I mean, like, it's amazing when the facts are in front of you, you just ignore the facts. Like, I had people debating against facts, and I'll never. The sky's blue. No, it's not. Like, I don't understand that.
Yes, I don't understand that.
I just don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. I will never understand that. Oh, Salty. I love the taco. What's it called? Things in the live chat you put up, man. Emojis. Thank you, sir. Oh my god, dude, I loved. Not a fan of Taco Bell. Anything else is good.
Del Taco, baby.
Del Taco, baby. You
know
right.
we used to have
Diarrhea Bell is what it is, man.
You nasty, man. Diarrhea Bell. I tell you what, though, J Street won one of those Xboxes from that. You see that from the Taco Bell giveaway?
Does it do the Taco Bell theme song or whatever when you turn it on?
Theme song.
The last time they did, the last time
it does the dong, I think.
The dong. Oh my gosh.
I'm being really immature right now.
Speaking of dongs,
it brainwashes you to go to Taco Bell to go get a taco every time you turn it on, dude.
Oh,
hey,
man.
Salty, what if
can't play games like that? You be in the bathroom the whole time.
What if What if you turn it on and the fan's going, it emits like a taco odor, so it makes you smell like you're in the restaurant.
They should have, man, but should have.
Oh my goodness! All right, so Game of the Year nominees. Jeff Keighley came out, tweeted out the nominees. A lot of people, and obviously the Game of the Year bracket or nominees, I think always tends to be kind of the hot button issue with the VGAs. But I'm going to go down the list of games because there's some games here. Look, by the way, I don't think there's anything wrong having a healthy Discord about conversation about if you thought maybe this game shouldn't be there, or maybe something got snubbed. What I don't agree with is pushing conspiracy theories and saying, tweeting Jeff Keighley and claiming that that this thing's rigged. It's ridiculous that even people in the industry have to come out and speak on his behalf. And and I'll get into it later, but I just think that's a bad look for the gaming community. Just my opinion, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. So we have Control. We have Resident Evil 2. Oh, I heard
that's exactly the Control. That's the response that everybody had when they saw that.
I was like, huh?
Oh, you talking about?
Huh?
It really shouldn't be there, and it's not saying Control is not a good game.
Don't jump the gun yet. We got to get to the nominees first. So we had Control, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro Shadow Dice Twice.
Oh yeah.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
2018.
Yep. The outer worlds.
It launched on the day of the Game Awards last year. That's why.
Yes, it did. Yeah. The Outer Worlds, and last but not least, the game that's caused plenty of stir. Which, by the way, we're gonna give a free copy of this game away. I meant to say it's to U.S. residents only. Can be shipping this stuff outside the U.S., but we'll be giving a free copy at the end of the show. It's going to be a trivia question regarding Kojima. Give a free copy of Death Stranding. So Death Stranding is on the list for Game of the Year. And by the way, like we all joked around about it because, I think Slow-Mo said, he's going to lose it if Jeff Keighley comes out and starts rubbing Kojima's shoulders.
No. I didn't say I was going to lose it. I was going to tell you all I predicted that was going to happen.
Oh, yes. You told
us.
I
did. I said, what happens if Death Stranding wins? Kojima goes up there to make his speech, and then right in the middle of his speech, Jeff comes behind him, grabs his shoulders, and just slowly starts to just rub all the tension out.
Oh, what if he
starts?
What
happens then? Like, what are we all going to say then? I'm just throwing it out there, but if it happens, I am Slow-Mo Tradamus here.
What if he whispers in his ear? He's like, Kojima-san, come back to my hotel.
Oh Lord!
And the audio catches that. That'd be kind of weird. Anyhow,
on the
yeah, but I think it is scandalous. So when I say Control, everyone's kind of like, woo. I think that's probably. I think a lot of people felt that way with Control, and I want to go to you, Salty, and then we'll go to J-Dub, our esteemed guest this evening. Salty, what? Outside of Control, let's just talk about the list in general, man. What are your thoughts about the list? And with regards to the list, do you think that all the games that this is a good list, or that these games should be there, or are they games that you feel like were snubbed?
All right. So the first thing that I got to get out of the way is this year has been a letdown as compared to 2018, because you look at the offerings for Game of the Year this year, and it's not comparable to last year, man. You had the two juggernauts going back and forth, right? Red Dead 2 and God of War. And Spider-Man was in there, right? The list that was coming out for that was clearly superior to this list. And then another thing that stands out to me was the Control, man. That was the first game that they put out there, and I was literally like scratching my head. Like, I was like, did I hear that wrong? Is this a different category? Because honestly, the reception of Control, I get it. Remedy is one of the beloved developers out there, and people think that they're, the best thing that's since sliced bread. But honestly, that game didn't sell that well. And if you would have pulled 100 people out there, right, just gaming fans, and said,
Salty, you can't say it didn't sell well. There are people who think otherwise, even though they provide facts that actually show it didn't sell well.
It didn't even track. What did it track? It didn't even hit like top 25. I don't know.
It never hit top 20 on MPD at all.
Top 20, right? Yeah. So no one was buying this game, just like all other Remedy games, right? And then, okay, I get it, right? It just looks like a Quantum Break changed a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. I would say if you pull, because the gaming awards, 10% comes from the fans and stuff like that. And there's so many games that are out there that are mid 80s, right? 85, 84. And the list goes on and on, man. Like I said, if you pull 100 people and you ask them, I don't even think one person would have put Control on their list, dude, honestly. Because I don't ask people. I would ask you guys think I'm off base here, because Control is just like that. One of these things is not like the other, like,
yeah.
So
look, I got into a very interesting conversation with Mr. Craig Harris, and shout out to him this morning about that, because Craig Harris believes I mean, look, I think we both, me and him, also believe the game. It's a good game, and I don't think anyone on here is saying it's not a good game. It is a good game. It's just not game of the year quality good. Mm-hmm. And no, it didn't sell well at all. Like it. Thanks to Craig Harris for providing me the statistics to this, even though he didn't think he was doing that. But anyway, the revenue, they came out a couple of days ago and they said the revenue they made off the game, and this is including the $9 million they got from Epic for being exclusive on PC, 17.7 million euros. But they came out in August and said that the budget for the game was somewhere between 20 to 30.
Ooh.
So you're almost 5 million euros below what you know. That's not you didn't sell well. You didn't chart an MPD at all. Mm-hmm. Top 20 from August to now. They never hit top 20. Like the game didn't sell well. And I would say narrative wise, it had issues. And I'm not saying that it's not a bad game. And the story was pretty interesting, but people got tired. I heard this from everyone who played it. You get tired of picking up all these notes and correspondence, and all of the interesting story is in the notes. Look, I'm playing the game. If I wanted to read a book, I go read a book.
Yeah. Hey, so real quick, I want to go back to Salty. Salty, you talked about like this game not being like, you don't see this as a game of the year game. If you had to pick, let's say you had a vote, what would you replace Control with?
See, the big issue that I have with the Game Awards is if you're going to have a 2019 award, it has to be a 2019 game. And I get that you have deadlines and all this other stuff, but things need to be moved around, or because they moved the deadline back. And if it was last year's deadline, Death Stranding wouldn't have made it for this year's Game Awards. That I looked into that. So they changed that. Death Stranding got in there. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, I believe that could be in there. There's a whole bunch of games. Luigi's Mansion 3, like Nintendo got snubbed in my opinion because they have so many games that could be in that slot. Even the two slots, because Fire Emblem could be in there.
Fire Emblem deserves to be
Astral Chain, like a bunch of games could be in there. I think the two games that stand out to me the most are Super Smash Brothers, because honestly, that's a great game. It's a 93 Metacritic. It sold gangbusters. But to have it come out a year later, it just doesn't make sense at all in my brain. You're putting an award out there for 2019, and you're giving it to a game, or game's in there that came out in 2018. It just, the structure of it doesn't make sense.
Let me ask you something, Salty, just to play devil's advocate here. Like, so what do we do with games then that come out like after the Game Awards that are really critically well received? Like, what happens to those games? Do we not recognize those games? Let's say, hypothetically speaking, a game drops December 18th.
Let's say Far Cry 3.
Yeah, Far Cry 3
dropped in December.
Yeah, but let's say a game comes out. It's critically received. It's genre defining. What happens to that game? Does it not get recognized then?
That's a good question, but like for other award show like the Oscars and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Or the Academy Awards, do they retrospectively put movies in there from the previous year? Or is it just not included?
I'm not even sure, man. I think they might have, but that's something we'd have to Google. I'm not even 100% sure. Maybe we can ask someone in the live chat.
They do it for music awards, though.
Yeah, so the way it works in my brain, so Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is a great game in my opinion, but this thing is so subjective, it's crazy. But the fact that it was just a week out in 2020, so stacked, like it's ridiculous, right? You list off the names of games coming out: The Last of Us 2, Cyberpunk, the Jedi Fallen Order doesn't have a chance in hell, right? Even if it even got nominated, it's going to be a year out of gamers' minds. They're not going to give a shit about it. They're not going to vote for it. So that's why I have an issue with it, because Smash Brothers realistically should have been in that 2018 class, which would have made it more stacked, but it wasn't there. But like, what would I put in there personally? I don't know, man. Honestly, lots of games could go in there over Control. It's a no-brainer in my opinion, you know. Like you could put Gears in there. Gears 5 would go in there. Any other game that you list off, that people list off, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
Control is just, it does not.
Control's the one
It's not does not belong there.
Yeah, Control's the one I disagree with too. But let's go to J-Dub, our other esteemed guest this evening. J-Dub, what were your thoughts, man?
Listen, I think, if the gamers spoke and the gamers purchased that game, I don't know. You got to look at the criteria of how they choose games and what games go in there. You have to go into the data, which I tend to not go into. I bought Control. I enjoy Control, and if a million other people enjoyed it, then I don't know. It's hard for me to say. If there was a game that I would remove Control and replace, I don't know, man. I would probably put Judgment in there.
Crackdown 3?
Hey,
Crackdown 3.
No, not Crackdown 3.
Hey, that's what you said, Judgment. Judgment's actually one of the games that I really enjoyed this year, man, that not a lot of people talked about. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it.
Wouldn't you guys agree that one of the requirements for nominations should be that it sells a lot? I mean, if it's a game of the year, I would think that a lot of the gamers would want to buy it and play it.
Right? What about free to play games then?
Or like
free is always going to be
like
have the most yeah.
You got free to play games, and then you have like those really, really awesome indies that sometimes like that deserve a nomination. Yeah. They don't ever win.
If you went by the amount of copies sold,
Madden,
it's going to be
Game of the Year nominations.
It's going to be Madden and Call of Duty every year.
I can see that. Anthem sold well in that shit, right? So
yeah,
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. We have to look into the data. Just because we personally like a game and call another game trash does not mean that the journalists and the gamers on a whole, because think about it. We cry every year, Madden is the same, Call of Duty is the same, it's trash, and we turn around and buy the new version even more than we did the last version. So gamers are very fickle, and we're liars by nature. We say we're not going to support something. Look at the outrage over this Nintendo game, Pokemon, and yet this thing is killing everything in its path, especially in Japan. So that's why I say gamers are liars and fickle by nature. So don't trust any gamer that say this is trash, that's trash, because 9 times out of 10 they will go out.
You're calling us you're questioning our integrity, calling us liars?
I am.
Sounds like
gamers. All gamers. Because the data proves it. We sit here and cry and complain. We're crying and complaining about what? Blizzard? We're crying and complaining about everything else. But as soon as a game come out that they make, EA is the scum of the earth. I hate them. As soon as they come out with Madden, you're the first person to buy it. Like, we're liars. We lie to ourselves and to try to save face. We call everything trash. But
I will agree. There are a lot of gamers that are just like that. I'm not going to put all of us in that boat. I think there are some of us that are
like that. Yeah,
I think there's some of us that
it's enough of us, right? It's enough. And think when I say gamers, I'm putting everybody in the same boat because we are gamers. This is our hobby. But just because us on the panel may not do that, we're the extreme minority because we know for a fact a lot of us on this panel play Madden every year. We play Call of Duty every year. So I'm only speaking, I'm putting myself in that same boat, man. I bought Call of Duty this year. Last year I said, I'm not buying this trash. It's the same stuff. And yet here I am playing. I'm just saying.
I would like to say that I may have Call of Duty for the past 2 years. I did not spend a dime on that game. It was gifted to me last year, and I got it for free from NVIDIA. Thank you, NVIDIA.
Oh, he gonna try to use that little loophole.
Yes, thank you.
Dancing all over the place. Hey, he still put his hands on that controller and start the game up.
These are facts. Yes.
Yeah, but let me ask you, if you guys. So real quick, I want to go to B Money real quick, and then get to Forte. B, what are your thoughts on the list, man? Did you like the nominees? Are you with us on the whole Control thing? You feel like maybe Control shouldn't have been on that list of nominees?
Yeah, man, Control, get out of there, man. I felt like, Nintendo got snubbed. I feel like Three Houses definitely should have been there.
Absolutely. Game of the year.
And I know it didn't sell like a bunch of copies. I think they announced they sold like 2 or 3 million copies whatever. So
that goes back to Salty's point.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but that's why I think like nominations shouldn't go off like sales, but it should definitely go off like impact. You know what I mean? If people are talking about the game, you know what I mean, if it had like a great narrative, if it had like great story, if it's impacting not just people in our region but in other regions, then I think that's when like, you know, that should be a factor in a nomination, not actual sales, because like, yeah, Call of Duty's gonna sell, 30 million copies every year. But you know what I mean, when you look at how many people finished that campaign, you know what I mean, was it really that impactful, or did people just run and jump on the multiplayer? So I think impact should always factor into it, but it's kind of hard to say.
B,
I'm glad you said that. Impact. Games that have impact on the gamers in a whole, those, and it may, right? That may be the matrix that they're using. We don't know, or I hadn't looked into the data, the deep dive of the data. But I think the impact of what this game has done at a specific time or this particular year on gaming, I think that should weigh more than sales.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think that sales should be the barometer or one of the barometers they use to nominate. But Forte, I want to go to you, man, because I know you're a big fan of Control. I know you were ranting and raving about it earlier this year, saying it was your game of the year. You were very excited about this nomination.
Oh Lord, here you go. We gotta pull that tape. Seriously.
No, I'm just joking. Go for that.
No, man. Look, man, Control. I don't know, man. That game it was nothing wrong with the game, but for you to say that this game was better than every Nintendo game that released this year, pretty much, and better than Gears of War 5, that's super far-fetched. And the biggest thing is, I think you guys just really hit on something, like the impact side of it. I know people that went out and bought a Switch because of Fire Emblem. And not just people that are in this community. I know people that literally didn't have a Switch until Fire Emblem came out, and they walked in my store and bought one. And that game really spoke to people. Same thing with like Luigi's Mansion and games like that. I know people that finally got Xboxes because of Gears of War, So the biggest thing is, it really just comes down to what is the impact that these awards really have when it comes to like how they're actually going about their selection process. Because I get why Smash is in there. I understand it. It's weird because it's a game that came out last year. But I remember sitting at work during the Game Awards last year, because I was at I had to do a midnight launch for Smash Brothers last year, and all I know is when they announced Joker at that event being the first character in the fighter pass for the DLC, everybody in my store exploded, and we sold like 63 extra copies of the season pass just because of that one thing. That's what I'm talking about. Impact. People are impacted by something that they just saw. Don't even know what's coming in the game. They don't even know what the whole offering is. Just one thing pushed them to want to do it. And I think that's what games like Fire Emblem did. I think that's what games like and a whole bunch of other games did. Control. What the hell did Control do other than give us Quantum Break 2.0 and made it multiplayer? I mean, for me, that's all it really did. Now, when it comes to the other games,
let me ask you, was Control like one of the first games that used why can't I think of it now?
Ray tracing?
The ray tracing tech. Like
no, that was wasn't that BF1 or BF5?
I think it was Battlefield.
Yeah,
that was
It
Battlefield.
was Battlefield.
Yeah, they did it on.
Yeah, one of the Battlefields. Very, very demanding game, by the way.
Yeah, very demanding game. No, but
I know they were like really like pressing that, like when the game came out or whatever.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, it really just comes down to it. I just feel like way other games are more deserving of it. Like, as much as I don't agree with Death Stranding being in there, it is what it is on that. I mean, it's a AAA game. It at least is doing something that no other game is doing, even though I don't consider it a freaking game. But it's something. It's different. It's different enough. And I think that's the biggest crux of the whole problem right there. We don't have any substance of why these games are picked. And right now, the biggest horror is not even just Game of the Year. Isn't Death Stranding nominated for 10 things on the docket? And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Games like God of War and Red Dead Redemption weren't even nominated for that. But what makes this game so special that it gets that type of?
You gotta play it. You gotta play it and realize.
No, dude, I don't care. It's dude.
So,
nothing,
Forte. You can't sit there and say what makes it special without playing. You never played it.
Nothing in that game that is going to tell me.
Did you play it?
Okay, look, Metal Gear Solid has more gameplay than that game has.
You don't know that's not true. That's not true.
I have played it. I'm not about to go into. I'm not putting 30 hours into that game, bro.
Forte, let me just say something real quick. I one of the trends that I'm seeing on Twitter right now, believe it or not, and it's funny because Eric just tweeted me this. That's another YouTube streamer. Who was kind of like, making fun. We all make fun of Death Stranding. It's funny to make fun of it, right? I get that. We all troll, ha ha ha. But one of the YouTuber was actually kind of doing the same thing. Finally got his hands on Death Stranding. Was like, oh, it's actually not that bad. I've seen a lot of people who were on the fence and who made fun of it.
Bad though.
No, but I'm saying
just not for me.
But you know what? But and that's fine. It's not for you. But
that's fine. Yeah.
But other people feel like it's a good game to be nominated. But I also Forte, I think you should try the game, man. Give it another shot.
No.
How can you possibly say a game is not Game of the Year worthy or potential when you haven't played much of the game?
It's not a freaking game.
It is a game.
Oh,
Forte.
stop, wait.
No, that's my bias right there. It is a game.
That has not played a game would say
it is
like that.
Forte, it is a game.
Forte, the same argument you're making right now.
$200 on the game, so I actually know it's a game.
The same argument you're making right now is the same argument that other people make against like Telltale games or against Detroit Become Human. Oh, it's not a game.
I don't believe those should be nominated either.
But I'm not saying they should be nominated, but they should be nominated. But to say it's not a game, it's a game, man. Like it's
a game. You know exactly what I mean. It's a game. It is a game.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Slow-mo. Here's the thing. Slow-mo. Right. When people say stuff like when gamers say stuff like that, you can't change their mind. Right. The bias is already there. The bias is already there, so they already listen. Whether you spend your money or not, you didn't play the game, you didn't beat the game, so your opinion, and that's fine, and that's perfect. But there's people kind of like you, right, in your position, that are out there on Twitter and social media that are spouting the same stuff. But the people who actually put their hands on the game and have put hours into the game are saying, "Oh my God, this is the game of the year," and so you're mad that this game of the year is winning all these awards, but the only reason you think that way is because you never played and finished the game. You never even got to the point where you could see what the game is about. You only look just like a lot of people.
When the game bores you,
you only look at videos.
Looking at videos. When you play the game and you're bored in the first 3 hours of playing the game, it just doesn't appeal to me no more. Look, man, let me tell you something. Mass Effect is my favorite. It's probably my favorite franchise of all time. Guess what? That first Mass Effect, once you get off the Citadel, I was bored as hell. I was like, what the fuck? Well, I said, well, I'm not going to tell me that cuss. What the heck am I doing? And guess what? I dropped that game. I didn't go back and play that game until my brother told me, yo, bro, did you play Mass Effect 2? I was like, no, I didn't even beat the first one because it got boring as hell to me. And he's like, dude, go play the first mission of Mass Effect 1. And that's when we had the demos and stuff. And I played that very first mission. And I was like, holy crap. I got to go play the first one because I got to force myself to get to the second one to get through that story.
We're not really helping your argument here. With
No. I'm just saying, I still think the second one is better. I didn't even experience all of Mass Effect 1 because I wanted to force my way to get through that game. The biggest thing is, every game it takes something to make you want to finish a game, and I just don't unless they come up with something that's better, like a sequel that makes me have to go back and play it, and maybe that might happen. I don't know. Right now, I'm just not interested in going.
I get it. It's not. I get it. I get it. Forte, it's not a game for you. Let's move on to somebody else.
But my point is, like, I think it's hard to just. I hear what he's saying. Like, I get it. It's not for you. That's fine. But to say, oh, well, why is it getting all these awards? Well, I think that's also hard to say if you've never played it to understand why it's.
Well,
getting
I'm not
all those
saying
awards.
it could get all the awards at once. I'm just saying, but I know games that are okay. Are we trying to say that this game is better than Red Dead, God of War? Are we saying it's better than those?
Those games aren't for nomination. They're not for nomination this year.
Exactly.
No. I'm just saying, but we're just talking about the
those games are
we're talking
not
about
nominees this
the
year.
sheer scope of all the nominations this game is getting at this point. Is it better than all these other games that didn't?
You're making an argument that nobody's making because games.
No, I'm asking a question. I'm not arguing.
There's a lot of people last year, right? They thought that Red Dead should have won it over God of War, and guess what? God of War won it. It is what it is. I'm not going to go say that. I'm not going to go say that. Well, why did Red Dead and God of War get it? In the original Mario didn't get it. That's the better game. Or Double Dribble didn't get it. That's the same argument you're making. That makes no sense. We're talking about 2019 based on the games that we have this year. Out of that lot,
well, maybe that's
except for Super Smash Brothers.
Except for Super Smash Brothers.
I mean, maybe that's the problem because 2019 was pretty abysmal for games.
Yeah, but we're going back to Enrique's question to you, right? He asked you a specific question, and you basically said, "I'm not playing this pile of crap, and I'm not willing to give it any more time than I have to find out what everybody's talking about." Which, let me tell you, Enrique, hopefully I can talk for just 2 minutes, right? I want to tell you about my experiences with this game and why I think it's the game of the year. And the reason why I think it's winning so many different categories. For one, starting this game off, right? They break this game, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but they break this game down to you in bits where it's like, well, first I got to teach you how to play this game. I got to teach you the mechanics, what you're going to do. And then the game opens up once you learn how to do certain things, such as climb, such as doing and making your journey. Now we're going to throw other stuff at you to take on and more. And eventually, after you get to about, hour 8, 9, 10, the game's music started playing, and it put me in such a crazy place that I've never been when playing a game. The atmosphere in this game had me like, this is beautiful. Like just walking down this, haven't opened their minds up to that. And I kind of think that is because the gamers like us, we have been shoehorned into first-person shooters, into sports games, into certain genres where we won't even open our minds up to stuff, right? Now, I applaud people that made like those games, the indie games, like the something of Edith Finch and some of the other games, because they do tell a different story, and it is emotional and it does different stuff. But this is a game on a whole different level. And the sad part about it is Kojima has been making Metal Gear games for over 30 years, giving you 90+ rated games on all of them. And he gives you something different, and people are not even willing to try it. And the mere fact that they're saying and they're doing what they're doing today because of the Game Awards proves my point.
Yeah, I want to go to
and Forte, God of War and Red Dead Redemption both got 8 nominations in different categories last year.
Yeah, I know.
So I mean, those games, they were rated higher than Death Stranding is, but I mean, they got just about the same amount of nominations.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. It's funny. Like Death Stranding is definitely a polarizing topic. I feel like every time, because I think every time I've had a conversation, you either have people that love it or like, oh, it's a FedEx simulator. It's trash. But yeah, I mean, I get it. It's not for everyone. But I'm not, and I know we joked around about, oh my God, what if, maybe you not, so I think some of you thought that it was definitely going to be Game of the Year nominee. I did not think it was going to be a Game of the Year nominee because of just how polarizing it was. I
knew it was.
In the community. But just kind of my 2 cents quick on the nominees. I've played all the games that have been nominated for Game of the Year. I think Control is probably the one nomination that I'm kind of, I wouldn't have picked it. I would have put like, I think Salty said like an Astral Chain, or some of you said a
Fire Emblem
Fire Emblem Three Houses, which I really enjoyed. I would have picked those over Control because for me, Control had some issues. There were some really bad frame rate issues in that game, performance issues that took away the enjoyment of that game for me. Where I was just like, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to play this, and I never went back to it. And I don't know if they fixed those things, but But I just never went back. So, but to the Death Stranding thing, it's funny again. I know we joke around about Kojima and the relationship that Jeff Keighley have. I know Slow-Mo was talking about Jeff rubbing his shoulders or something on stage.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, oh my God, if that happens, that's just terrible. That's just not a good look. But I know we all joke around.
I'm partly joking, but if it happens, you heard it here first.
Slow-Mo, if this happens, we are going to have a conversation about that and how you predicted that, and then I'm going to ask you what the Mega Millions drawing is going to be for the following weekend,
and then I'll tell you after I make that money.
After Slow-Mo wins, yeah. But you know what's crazy? I will say this: you don't have to agree with the nominees or nominations for Game of the Year. That's fine. I think this is all subjective. People have different opinions on what their Game of the Year is. But I will say one thing I did find troubling today was the conspiracy theories, people tweeting Jeff Keighley, people saying that this reeks of corruption. And I'm just like, guys, go to the facts page and you'll learn and you'll see, you can read how this works behind the scenes. And we're talking about I think Jada was asking about, how they pick the nominations for the VGAs. There's essentially, I think there's about 90. Jeff said there's 80, but on the website they said there's 90 media outlets and I think influencers, both domestically and internationally, that pick the nominees for the Video Game Awards. And then the fans do vote, but the fans vote only count 10%, where the media outlets and influencers account for 90% of the vote. So they get the majority. Somebody asked Jeff, "Hey, well, why do you do it like that? Why don't you just leave it up to the fans?" And Jeff's like, "Well, we feel like if we do that, you might get, first party games might be left out because third party tend to be more popular in terms of sales and popularity amongst gamers. So we want to go ahead, B."
No, this is Salty.
Oh, Salty, go ahead, man.
The reason why people put this into question, and screw all the conspiracy theory stuff. First of all, I just want to put this out there. I never gave two shits about Academy Award winners, right? For movies. Never followed those, never watched them, never influenced a damn thing that I watched in my life, right? If a movie won a best picture or whatever, I could care less because I watched the things that I like. But since I've been a content creator, I started, paying attention more to these game awards. Sure. And the thing that people can't deny is just the level of, it's questionable when the guy that owns the awards show, right? He's so buddy with the developer of the game. He's in the game. It doesn't matter if he's paid or not. He's promoted the game on his Twitter. You could talk about how they pick nominations, which you can read the way it's done. That's fine, but no one's seeing that. No one's seeing the votes. It's not, I'm not saying that it's just questionable. Okay. No one can question that these two are friends, right? No one can say that he's not in this game. And that just puts the whole thing in question, because if you put it as an Academy Award, right, it'd be like someone owns the Academy Awards, right? They're involved with the process of picking nominations, and they're the host of the Academy Awards as well, right? And they're buddies with someone that makes a movie, right? They're super friends. Like Avengers, the new movie. Let's just say that Avengers came out, and the Russo brothers are friends with Jeff Keighley. He's the owner of the Academy Awards, and he's the host every year. They're buddies, and then he was in the movie Avengers Endgame, right? He's in the movie. He didn't get paid for it. He promotes it all over his Twitter, and then Avengers Endgame gets nominated for all these awards, and it ends up winning. You can't tell me that people wouldn't question the credibility of the award show when all this involvement is intertwined with a developer or a producer of entertainment.
Let me tell you why that's farce, right? Just my opinion. I'm not saying your opinion. Your opinion goes to your opinion. Let me tell you why that's farce. For one, all of these movie actors, directors, and executives, they all talk to each other and they all work with each other. You know, all these actors, all you know, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., all these guys have worked with each other before in some capacity. They know each other.
No, but
it's such a small. Wait, hold on.
But you're talking about directors of movies.
Let me finish.
And owners of award shows.
Listen, let me finish. Right. It's crazy. It really is. Only this year, right, have we went out of the way to discredit something. Now, I get it. Every year when your favorite game doesn't win, there's always this, oh, this sucks. This is biased. We get that. We've been getting that since the beginning of time. But this year, it is bananas for me to see the damage control. And here's the thing. 99.9% of it is coming from the Xbox community. You got guys. Wait, listen. Let me finish. You got guys
Jeff
talking.
Keighley was in God of War.
Jeff Keighley, right? He could have been in God of War. Here's the thing.
He could have been.
He has no vote. He has no power when it comes to that.
He owns the show.
But he has no vote.
Just because
it doesn't matter.
Because I stepped my.
But it does matter because
it's a conflict of interest.
How is it a conflict of interest?
Phil Spencer is on the board. You have Nintendo is on the board.
Let's scratch out the board, right? Because I retracted my statement on that. He owns the award show. He is best friends with the dude that is the developer of a game that is nominated, dude. That is the definition of conflict of interest, dude.
Listen,
it is.
Listen. Okay, I don't know how many other ways I can put this in terms. This shit is. I've never seen this ever in my life.
Because it's never happened. Really, J-Dub, when is this happened before?
Listen. Jeff Keighley, every single year, he has to come out and face backlash from Nintendo dudes, from PlayStation dudes, from Xbox dudes. Because this guy plays a small cameo in the game, which, by the way, he's not the only person. You have Conan O'Brien. You have a bunch of Sony execs in there. You have other people, without spoiling the game, you have a ton of people in there that play such a small, minor role. We're talking about just a hologram. But all of a sudden, oh my God, he's in the game. It's this game. This is a sham. Here's the thing about it, right? That game did not get a 90-something Metacritic. It got a middling 83 Metacritic. There are games above and the games below. And who's to say that this game is even going to win Game of the Year? But people are butthurt talking about, I'm a police officer. I know that's sham.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that type of stuff.
This is all tinfoil hat coming from the Xbox.
Did I say that Death Stranding shouldn't be nominated? No, I didn't. Did I say that it is a conflict of interest? Yeah, because if you take yourself out of the picture, you're saying this has never happened with any other game. Well, this has never happened with any other game. There's never been a relationship. You cannot deny.
So you're saying
the relationship that these two have. They're best friends. He talks so glowingly about Kojima. He tweets about him every little simple thing that comes out, and then the game is nominated in his award show that he's host of.
So let me ask you this, right?
Because I just like, I'm seeing this whole thing over, you know what I mean, the game being nominated, and you know what I mean, Jeff Keighley being in the game. And you know what I mean, Jeff Keighley being in the game, you know, I can understand some people questioning that or whatever. But Metal Gear Solid was nominated for Game of the Year. It was in a whole bunch of categories when it came out, and Kojima was nowhere to be found. And I don't see the same energy back in 2015, you know what I mean, when the game was nominated. They was best friends back then too, but nobody was calling for corruption. Nobody was saying that it was, you know what I mean, conflict of interest. None of that shit.
This award show is trying to take gaming to the level of the Academy Awards and the Oscars, the level of that, right? They've talked about it, like the credibility of it. It could be that if it was credible.
No, it won't.
But Salty,
it will never be that.
Even those awards aren't really credible. There was a article that came out last year that talked about how the Oscars was basically just one big one big BRAP fest, like the movie of the year category. Where people always wonder, well, why that movie? What is that movie?
Nobody
I've never
even
heard of it.
Never even heard of any of these movies in the category.
But then there's a big article that talked about how behind the scenes is that all the voters, they're just taking bribes. Who gives the biggest bribe?
So basically, what you're saying is we shouldn't give credibility to any award show. Then,
well, no, I'm not saying. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I think it is.
It's just the same. No, because what you're saying, what you're saying is the Oscars isn't credible.
No,
so this isn't credible.
Salty, you just said that they need to be credible like these award shows, but they aren't credible is all I'm saying.
But the even credible shows is you're saying those aren't credible. So how am I supposed to believe that what is happening behind the scenes for this smaller show that's shown instances of fishy shit going on behind the scenes is credible? How am I supposed to believe that from you?
I'm not going to say that you shouldn't believe what you're believing right now. It does look somewhat fishy. I think the whole thing with what's that publication in Japan, Famitsu? I think that's even fishier than any of the Jeff Keighley stuff, because the guy is they got the mascot for that publication in the game. The guy who runs that is in the game, and they gave it a 10 out of 10. That looks real fishy. But
the thing is the chat. I just want to address the chat real quick. The funny thing is, people call me a bot, but I said, I could say both sides want to see what they want to see. The fact of the matter is, fanboys cannot see past their fucking face, right? So here's the deal. God of War was the best game ever created. Can I say that ever? How many times do I got to tell you guys that this was a failure of a generation for Xbox, and then you guys still come at me? The thing is just because people say what you don't want to hear doesn't mean that you got to attack them for those reasons. What I'm trying to tell you is I don't give a shit about these award shows, but when I see stuff like this that's fishy and then people just skim over it, it's funny to me.
Anytime a group of people claim media bias, right? I roll my eyes. Let me tell you why, right? Anytime you say media bias, you're claiming a conspiracy. That means millions and millions of people have to be on the same page at the same time trying to conspire to do this same thing.
Media bias.
So you mean to tell me? Wait, listen.
Gaming,
listen. That's just saying that because Kojima and because Jeff Keighley are friends, that supersedes all of these other judges and panelists and all these other gamers.
So who are these judges and panelists? They're anonymous.
He
picks them.
Listen.
If I was a lawyer bringing this argument to the table, JW, you would lose. The credibility of this award show is not credible. They're trying to build it up, and it's not credible. The owner of the award show is buddies with the developer that's on the panel.
So before this year was that award show and Jeff Keighley credible?
I was trying to see if it was going to gain credibility because God of War won. It won, and I wanted it to be. Yeah, it's gaining.
So was it not credible? So it wasn't credible last year. What year was it credible to you?
So when was this award show deemed the award show? Because it was the Spike. It was the Spike Award show, right? No one really watched it.
What year?
I love the Spike show. This show is trash to me.
The thing is there's so many award show, right? There's how many awards given out for gaming? There's too many.
This is the fifth installment of the show. 2014. Jeff,
can we all say that it's building in credibility and popularity based off of the numbers?
I'm not
going to say credibility because I never had a problem with it.
I never questioned the credibility.
Only this year have I heard anything about credibility and about media bias and about collusion. I mean,
no one's. Are you listening? Are you listening to what I'm saying? Are you listening to what I'm saying?
I'm saying in general,
the game should be nominated for Game of the Year. It should be because it's original. I saw the game being played. I heard the music. I haven't played the game personally. Am I saying it shouldn't be nominated? No, but it's troubling.
But it shouldn't
from the
win.
outside.
But it shouldn't win.
I'm not saying it shouldn't win either. What I'm saying is it puts the credibility in question when the dude is buddy with the owner. That's all I'm telling you. I really don't give a shit about the awards, bro. like I said, if I take an outside looking in, does the Academy Awards affect what games I buy? No, but if you're trying to make this thing credible, it's shooting it.
Let me ask you this then. Okay, forget the award show. If all of these people, right, if millions of people are saying, "Oh, this game is great. This game is the best game I ever played. This game is this," it's giving it those type of sayings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because Kojima and Jeff Keighley are friends, because I mean, technically, both of them have been knowing each other for damn near 30 years. Does that take that game, that great game that people are having glowing, just so much good stuff to say, does that remove that piece of artwork or that piece of the game just because this guy is friends with that guy?
It's
you're trying to remove credibility of something, right?
No, so what I'm trying to tell you is this never has happened that I could ever remember where the guy is a host, he's the owner, right, of an award show, and he's so involved with the game, tweeting out promotion material and just glowing over a dude. Like people like Slow-Mo's talking about giving him right?
See, here's the thing. That's a personal retrospect upon two guys in their relationships. That's your
so you don't think that people from the outside would say it would be a conflict of interest?
Listen, let me tell you this, right? I've seen a stage that had Phil Spencer. I've seen a stage that had Sean Layden, and a stage that had Reggie Fils-Aimé on that stage, hugging each other, talking like friends or whatever. You telling me that ain't a conflict of interest? That Phil Spencer says, guys, this game is great. I can't wait to play this game over to Sony. You don't think that that's a conflict of interest from the outside, retrospective looking in? Of course it is. But at the same time, I'm not going to down him because he's a gamer. He likes playing great games.
Mm-hmm.
Just because
is that really a conflict of interest, though?
No, obviously, right? If you're promoting, listen. I'm giving you right a perspective from the outside. As a Xbox gamer, when I see Phil Spencer saying that God of War, I can't wait to play that. That's great. I'm getting my special copy. That looks like a conflict of interest because you're competing against this. But that would be
if Jeff Keighley was in Gears of War, right? Gears 5. He was a character in there, and he was going to the studio and he was promoting the shit out of the game. Saying he can't wait to play it. And then
I would not have a problem with it. You know why? Let me tell you why I don't have a problem with it. Because at the end of the day, this is my motto: a great game is hater proof. It's scandal proof. You can't fool all the gamers. You can't. A great game will supersede whatever kind of hate. I remember in BRAP. You can probably back me up. I think I talked about this on the podcast last time.
Yeah.
I remember when Spider-Man came out, you had the water puddle game. People saying this, the water puddles was downgrade. When God of War came out, people saying he didn't have a jump button, he was old, it was too different. In Days Gone, and game after game, it seems like only Sony games get this scrutiny where there has to be some scandal or some hate on it.
Man, God of War was the game of the year, bro.
No. Listen,
every game gets that.
I just gave you guys the examples that we heard. You saw the tweet.
Yeah,
a lot of
but
you
you're also talking in the
tweets.
lane of fanboyism, where people are just arguing across the lane with other people that talking about.
Listen, talking about Jeff Keighley and Kojima's relationship is total fanboyism. How he was attacked on Twitter.
That's not that. That's legit.
You talk about it. It's the credibility of an award show.
Listen, Keighley has no power in this.
Hey, hold on, real quick. Jay, hold on, Jay, hold on, because I want to go to B because I think B was trying to get a word in real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what Salty is saying. You know what I mean? It from the outside looking in, it could look a little fishy. But you know what I mean, and he talks about the show being credible. Like all these award shows, like I just watch them to see what the opinions are. Like none of them are credible to me because at the end of the day, like none of them really influence like the games I play, the movies I watch, the music I listen to. You know what I mean? I just want to see, what the consensus is of all these people who have all this money and hold these awards in high regard. Other than that, like it is what it is. You know what I mean? I watch the show and forget about it the next day afterwards. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's not that big a deal to me. And you know what I mean? it's never going to be like something I hold in high regard. It's it's video game awards, and it's just people's opinions and what they thought, and the opinions will always differ from mine. My game of the year is going to be different from whatever they pick, and games I feel like have the best narrative or the best best music or the best characters. Like we all have different opinions, so award shows are not really a big deal to me. It kind of is what it is. I watch it for the entertainment value, see what new games are going to be there, and after that I'll move on.
I agree with B. I agree with B on that. Like this is all for entertainment. If like for last year when the big debate would it be Red Dead 2 or God of War, and God of War ended up winning. For a lot of people, Red Dead 2 was their game of the year. But you know what? If it's your game of the year, then it's your game of the year. No one can take that from you. Like my game of the year this year, I don't care what anybody says.
Fire
Emblem, 3 Houses. There ain't a game that came out this year that was better than it, as far as I'm concerned. They can all kick rocks. But you know what? It wasn't even nominated, and that's okay because it didn't need to be. I didn't need that nomination to validate, how I felt about the game. But to get to this topic, I understand what Salty is saying, and I understand what Jay is saying on both sides. It does look fishy. Does, but just saying it looks fishy doesn't mean it's fishy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, it can look bad, but it doesn't mean it actually is. And I'm not saying Salty is saying this, because I haven't heard Salty say absolutely there is collusion going on here. There was quid pro quo.
It was a perfect call.
It was all that. It was the whole perfect call nonsense. I didn't hear him saying any of that. There are people on Twitter saying those things. I think that's what Jay is coming from. He's seeing those things on Twitter.
I never said anything about Salty. I was in general. We've all been seeing the stuff on Twitter, so it's not like we're blind to the fact.
Let me just interject real quick. Let me interject real quick, Slow-Mo, because it's 11:30. We got to start wrapping up the show here real quick. But I get like what Salty's saying and J-Dub's saying. I get the optics of it. Like I think I was talking to Cognito about it. Like I understand the optics of it. Someone being in a game and he's the producer. I get that. But I will say this. I mean, you can only go by the facts and what we know right now, and this is why I tweeted this out. Because a lot of people I was surprised didn't know how a lot of people thought Jeff actually voted and picked the winner. A lot of people thought that Jeff selected the nominees for all the categories. He is not involved at all, period. He's not. He doesn't. He's come out and said it. Andrea Renee came out and said, "Hey, look, no, Jeff doesn't have anything to do with nominees and voting. He doesn't. It's not. It's the 90 media outlets, the influencers who are YouTubers, and these are the big YouTubers, big influencers, who are the ones that have the voices here. Jeff does not have a voice when it comes to selecting the winner, nominating, or anything like that. Nothing. And so those are the facts. I get the optics, but until a media outlet breaks a story, and let me tell you, if that came out, every media outlet would run with that. All those guys that are, and I think you could actually, I think Salty, you wanted to know what outlets are, part of the, I guess, voting committee. I believe that information's on the Game Awards website as well. I know Digital Trends is one. I think IGN is one. There's a couple other ones, international ones that I'm not familiar with that have a say. But you got to believe too, with Phil Spencer, Phil Harrison, Matt Bowser, Rockstar Games, Sony Entertainment. There's some other. I think EA's. They're on the board too. Microsoft, yeah, they're also part of they're also part of the show of this event too. So they're staking their relationship based on the integrity of the show. That's something that a lot of people bring or talk about. I think those things need to be taken into consideration too, and not just automatically say, "Oh, this is a big conspiracy theory," and there's collusion here. There was a quid pro quo, whatever. But to B's point. At the end of the day, this show is a celebration of the industry. And I think the unfortunate part is that that's getting lost in some of this stuff. That's a lot of it's conjecture, a lot of it's stuff that's not even based on facts. It's a celebration of the industry, and if you don't agree with the game of the year, like I think like Salty said, like Slow Mo said, and B and J, and I think Forte said, whatever your game of the year is, that's also what matters the most. It doesn't matter whether Control won or Smash Brothers won. Obviously, I'm with Slow Mo. I would have loved to see Fire Emblem Three Houses be up there for a nomination, but it's not to be. But you know what? It's up there for my game of the year, and at the end, that's what matters most to me. But I think B, what you were saying too. The cool thing about the show, there's going to be some new games. There's a new studio that's going to reveal a game that we were talking about in the BRAP DM. I think these are some of the guys that were from Arcane Studios. And so look, they're saying all the right things, and so it's just unfortunate that this stuff overshadows the celebration of the industry and the hobby that we love, and also some of the games that they're going to be announced. Microsoft's going to announce some stuff. B Money talked about the studio from the old Arcane guys that have a new game in works. Those things are things that I think
the studio's called Wolfeye.
Wolfeye, thank you.
The studio's called Wolfeye, yeah, and they're going to show that at the VGAs. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, so so that's just my 2 cents. But guys, it's 11:36 here Eastern Standard Time. I do need to get to bed. As much as I would love to talk more gaming, I do need to get to bed. But I do want to say thank you to everyone for showing up today. We do have that giveaway. And real quick, guys, and Forte, I'm sorry, man. Did you have anything you want to say about the awards? I thought you may wanted to chime in, man. I don't want to end the show without getting, without you getting,
you guys pretty much hit on all of it. I'll dislike any of the stuff that was up there. At a certain point, none of those games were my game of the year, so I could care less. It really just comes down to what your forte is, no pun intended. But ultimately, I'm going to still watch the show because it's a bunch of entertainment, and I'm going to go on Twitter, and I'm going to be laughing at the people that are going to take this way too serious, and I'm going to be happy for the people that just are happy that their game was nominated. That's ultimately what it comes down to. The only thing I definitely want to see, because matter of fact, for sound was for music. Was Destiny in that?
You know what? I think I have it up. Give me a second.
Because the Bungie is not nominated for freaking music again, I'm gonna flip, because that's the only one I actually really care about. Because they keep getting snubbed on that every year.
Yeah, Bungie's music is on point. I'll say that. Yeah,
I like to get on Destiny all the time, but the music is top notch.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's
always one of the best music. Yeah,
that's the only thing that I really truly, if I have a stake in anything, it's just that one category, because I know the game's not going to be good enough to really trade in any other category because it's just so up and down. But that sound design is just incredible. So
they have two categories. They have sound design, and then is I can't remember how they describe the other one, but I remember on Scumcast last year we were talking about like what the differences are, like what do you mean sound design, and then the other one's like best music or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And they need to stop with the whole separate, like putting sports games and racing games in the same freaking category. They need to stop doing that.
Yeah, they need to. Yeah, that's not fair. It's not fair. Yeah. I don't think it's fair to either category, because I think sometimes
not at all.
Some years there's like, I think MLB The Show should have won some years when like it's going up against Forza. Like, how was that like a same category thing? That's not right.
How's that even a immediate contrast? But outside of that, no, I think it's going to be pretty incredible. I think it's going to be fun to watch, and I hope Smash Brothers wins.
Smash Brothers is going to win.
Yeah, I think
why everybody's going to be crying.
I think Smash Brothers is going to win.
Yeah, Smash Bros is probably going to win this.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to win. I think it's the one game that we, like most people can get.
It's the one game that you really can't argue about having any type of real flaw to it.
Exactly.
The only argument against it is that it came out in 2018
last year. Yeah. Exactly.
It's the only game that actually unifies most gamers from the different consoles.
That's what
we can all agree that, again, like I said before, a game like Smash Brothers, right? A great game. is hater proof. No matter how mad you can get, you can't deny that it's a great game. It's just simple. I think it'll get it, but technically, just for my sake and just for talking shit on Twitter, I want Death Stranding to get it. Just to
I know you.
Rage.
Oh my god!
Just to see the rage.
See the streets burn. That's what you want to see.
You know, I want to see it burn. You know how much content I can come up with because of
that. Don't do that, man. Hey, Jada, leave these kids alone, man.
I know.
No, but it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun.
It will, man.
Yeah, I just checked Forte. Destiny is not nominated for any of the music.
Oh.
They are. I think they are in there for ongoing game though.
Yeah,
that's Fortnite.
They're gonna lose to Fortnite.
They're gonna lose to Fortnite, or
not lose to Fortnite. Yeah.
You know what? I think a dark horse. I think a dark horse might be Final Fantasy 14.
No, Fortnite literally. Millions of people looking at a freaking black hole in the sky this year. It's
but then you got to think about who's voting on this, and it's not the millions of 14-year-old kids doing the Fortnite dance.
But they take that type of impact into account, though, probably.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, we got to wrap up the show because I got to get to bed. And I want to drop the shit. Look at that. I'm so tired. I can't even think what I'm going to say.
Drop a code in the chat.
No, I'm not gonna drop a code. No, because I'm gonna mail a physical copy of Death Stranding. You have to be a U.S. resident, by the way. I said that earlier. But I do have the trivia question, and it is Kojima based.
We're doing trivia now?
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. What is the name? What is the name of the cyberpunk graphic adventure game that was written and designed by Hideo Kojima? It was published by Konami. What's the name of that game? If you know the name, DM me on Twitter at BRAP_podcast. The first person to DM me the correct answer with
already got it.
Death Stranding. No, you can't.
Are we able to win this?
No.
I'm about to just scream it out.
Not BRAP panel members. Not BRAP panel members. No.
Because all I would do is win and then take a picture of half a code with the other half burnt off. Say, hey, who can guess the last 4 numbers of this code?
You were crazy, man. No, it's going to be a physical copy. So that is the trivia question. And, hey, I want to give you a big shout out. Salty, man, it was great having you on, sir. Appreciate your insight. And, dude, I'm looking forward to coming on tomorrow night, man, and doing this again.
Oh yeah. If people don't know already, I love to debate. It's like what I did, in high school and college and stuff. So it's always good, man. At the end of the day, we're all gamers. We like talking games, man.
Facts.
It's good to have different opinions and not have, live in a bubble of, similar opinions and kind of shade yourself off from other stuff. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man. It was a blast.
Yeah, it's Salty. I gotta say, man, like I certainly appreciate your honesty. I heard you when you say like somebody called you bot in the live chat. I can tell you guys, he's farthest from that. He's very vocal when he needs to be, whether it's about Sony, Xbox, Nintendo. So I certainly appreciate
that. That's the thing, man. Like, I know my channel suffered a little bit because I don't do that fanboy stuff. I don't pander to one audience or another. That's just never gonna be me.
Do it the right way, Salty. Don't worry about it. Do it the right way, man.
Like, one day I'll be hated by one side, and then the other day I'll be hated by the other. But all that matters to me is that I'm true to myself. And that's just the bottom line, man.
That's the way to do it, Salty, man.
That's the only way you can do it.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this, man. If you worry about what other people think about you and the image you have, you'll forever go crazy. Just do you, for sure. Have fun, and realize that this is for entertainment, and that's all.
Yeah, and Salty, that's why you put out a good product, man. I mean, seriously. I mean, you guys, have a great podcast every week, and that's because you're true to yourself, man. So keep doing what you're doing, man. But please let people know where they can find you, man.
Just Saltiest Gaming, 2 words, YouTube, and then Twitch, Saltiest Gaming, 1 word. I stream there permanently now because YouTube just doesn't like people to stream games, and that's just the bottom line. They demonetize and all that other stuff. But yeah, Twitter, I like Twitter, Saltiest Gaming, the I is a 1. Just like talking about games and having fun about it, not taking it too serious. So that's what it's all about, man.
No doubt. By the way, we have a winner. Ryan Landis.
Yeah.
Ryan, congratulations to Ryan Landis. The game is actually called Snatcher. So there you go. So Ryan is our big winner. Ryan, congratulations. Ryan, please DM me information and mail you the game. I will mail it out to you tomorrow afternoon. But drop that information to DM, sir. So congratulations again, man. J-Dub, Kratos.
Yo.
The Lord of Trolling. You and those
hey,
memes,
man.
Where do you get these memes from, man? Like you.
Hey, man, it's like a gun. I keep them all on deck, ready.
I gotta say, I think your funniest meme was the one of Showstopper getting his GED, man. I was in tears. Dude, seriously, every time I looked at that meme, I was dying.
Yeah.
Like this dude posted that yearbook picture.
Yeah. Hey, if you don't know, man, me and a bunch of fellas on Twitter, we crack jokes and we snap on each other, and that's what we do. And anybody can get it. So, he might throw something out there on me, and it may be funny as hell. So now I got to try to retaliate and come up with something real quick to take the sting out of it. And man, it's a lot of my Xbox friends out there, a lot of guys that we go back and forth at. A lot of times you guys think it's real. It's like, no, that's what we do. That's the fun that we have in it. There's nothing real about it. We don't take it serious. That's our job, is to poke fun back and forth and to kind of start some mess. And sometimes people outside of the little circle get involved and they get dragged into it. But at the end of the day, they end up following us. They ended up, we ended up liking them, subscribing to their stuff, and it's all fun. It's really so much fun, and I have a blast on Twitter doing what I do. At the end of the day, you guys see I play everything. I communicate with everybody. I like everybody's tweets and stuff like that. So it's all a part of gaming, man. It's just having fun. But I just have a lot of content for Xbox, right? Because a bunch of my Xbox friends, they're looking for a W, and I'll try my best to deny it to them until next generation come. And that's just the scope.
Awesome, man. Well, Jay, it's always a pleasure, man, having you on, BRAP, man. Thank you again. Appreciate your time. And to the rest of the panel, Slow-Mo, B-Money, Gaming Forte, and Mr. Eric Jackson, thank you all for joining us tonight. I know we went a little bit longer than we usually do. Again, big shout out to our guests, Saltiest Gaming and J-Dub. We will see you guys next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We actually going to have a special guest for next Wednesday, our pre-Thanksgiving show. God, I can't believe it's Thanksgiving already. It's crazy. So I'll make that announcement here shortly, who our special guest is going to be. But everyone, enjoy the rest of the evening. Have fun gaming. And we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.